San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a good morning to everybody out there in America's finest city. Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. We'll be taking it up to 2 o'clock. And Gwen and Chris, before you get you ready for the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show, as we talk Padres and Diamondbacks, game 2 of a 4-game series. Alongside Frank Marchese, I'm, of course, Braden Surprenant. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us on social media. Be sure to do that. And give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. We really appreciate that every time you guys do that. It does a great job of getting our show, the show that you guys love to tune into, out to more people that don't even know our show exists. So every time you tune in, give us a like on the YouTube. And right now, we're trying to get our subscribers up a little bit on the Braden Surprenant Show page. We're up to 217. We'd like to get to 500 by the end of the baseball season. So if you haven't done so already, go on YouTube at @B_SURP. You will find the Braden Surprenant Show page on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. Subscribe to our page. If you haven't done that yet, please do. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube page for 97 Through the Fan, you should do that too, because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And you'll be notified anytime there's new content. We have different content on the Braden Surprenant Show page than just the shows. So be sure to do that. We're trying to grow the show a little bit more, get the algorithm working for YouTube to get our product out there as much as possible. So without further ado, that's basically some of the housekeeping that we need to take care of. Everything else this week is pretty much the same. It's our first normal week in a long time this week. I can't say the last time we had a normal week, Frank, in terms of either me being here, you being here, not having a random show. I mean, this whole week is Monday through Friday. No preemptive, nothing. It's a normal week this week.
No, it absolutely is, and I'm very excited for it. I think this is probably the first time since before you've gone to Italy that we've had a normal week. No preemptions, no nothing.
I think so too. Next week's probably going to be the same. All-Star Week's usually a very normal week. But yes, we have a normal week this week. Not being on the morning show, the afternoon show. I mean, who knows? Every time we say we're locked into the midday, something gets shuffled. See, Victor Murphy's helping out in the chat. Hashtag FYP for your page, for you. So we appreciate that. So I've already had a couple people follow. But again, you can follow us on social media at @B_SURP. You can follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page. If you haven't subscribe to the YouTube page yet on 97 Through the Fan, you should. We have a lot of subscribers. We're trying to get the fan account to 10,000 subscribers. We're close, but we're not there yet. It doesn't cost you anything. And then the best part about subscribing to our YouTube page and my YouTube page is the fact that when you pull up YouTube on your phone, all our videos are right there. You don't have to go searching for it. So many people are like, well, I try to find your show. I search for it. I don't know which one I'm Subscribe. Don't have to worry about searching for it ever again. And I know a lot of you guys search for the shows because the analytics tell us that. All right, enough of that BS. Let's talk about last night's game, as we're going to do for a decent amount of time here. We'll start with some of the positives before I dive into the negatives. And there's a lot of negatives to talk about with last night's game. Last night's a very frustrating game. I think the number one positive out of yesterday's game, and we're going to have a more deeper dive on this particular thing. But yesterday, biggest positive out of yesterday, Manny Machado. Manny Machado getting 2,000 hits. That's such an insane accomplishment. It doesn't seem like an insane accomplishment. Look, we're blessed to have a guy like Tony Gwynn play for the San Diego Padres with over 3,000 hits. We know about the average that he had in that strike year, 394. They even made it a popular beer in San Diego. But do you understand, like, when you start really thinking about it, and Manny kind of talked about that, we're going to get into that in the next segment, how impressive 2,000 hits is? I mean, think about that. That's 200 hits a year for 10 straight years. That's insane. Honestly, that's insane. He's obviously played more years than that, and there's been years where he hasn't had 200 hits. He averaged around 150, a little bit higher than 150. But 2,000 hits is crazy when you think about it. And then you go on top of that, he accomplished this earlier this year, 350 home runs. Not only does he have 2,000 hits, he has 350 home runs. Remarkable. And the fact that he's accomplished a lot of these things in a Padres uniform is even cooler. I think you really, and I overlook this sometimes about, the historical significance of what last night was. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this in the next segment, but we'll hear from Manny in the next segment. But as I was watching the game last night, and you knew he was chasing 2,000 hits, right? All season. He was chasing 2,000 hits. He was chasing 350 home runs. And I think back of, I've seen that Tony Gwynn highlight of him getting 3,000 in Montreal. And I've seen that number 2,000 highlight of him getting it at Qualcomm Stadium. I've seen those. We've seen those highlights as Padres fans hundreds of times. I think I've seen both of those hits hundreds of times. I can hear the call in my head. I see his, for hit 3,000 in Montreal, his mom going out and hugging Tony. So you think about those things, and then as the season's going on for Manny Machado, you're in the day in, day out, complaining about this, complaining about that, overloving this, overloving that, as fans do during the season. And as he got closer to 2,000, again, it was there. I knew it was going to happen. Like everybody knew this season it was going to happen. Barring any major injury, Manny was going to get 2,000 hits this year. He was going to get hit number 2,000 this season. But I didn't really appreciate it until he came up last night. And every time he came up last night, needing that one hit. And maybe it comes with age. Maybe you appreciate these things when you're older. But I remember sitting there going, this is an opportunity for me as a Padres fan, who in my lifetime, and I'm 30 years old. I turned 30 in I turned 30 in March. I was born in 1995. The Padres in my lifetime, like historical significance, all of the fun stuff in the late 90s, I was too young to be able to remember that I witnessed it, if I in fact witnessed it. Like, there's a couple of games that are historic games that I was at that I don't even remember. My parents had to tell me that I was there as a little kid. So during the majority of my lifetime, it was a lot of not great baseball and nobody really accomplishing a lot. Like I saw, you could see like Trevor Hoffman's 500th save, I think it was, or whatever it was, when he had the saves lead for a while. Aside from that, and a couple of hitting for the cycle in Colorado, like in my lifetime, there hasn't been a lot of these big moments. So I thought back right before Manny came up to hit. The first thing that popped into my head was the Tony Gwynn hit number 2,000. Because you look at 2,000 hits and you're like, okay, well, it's not 3,000, but it's still, you have to really break it down to understand just how important it is and how insane it is. And they don't play that highlight of Tony getting number 2,000 all the time because it's insignificant. They play it because it's obviously a major achievement. It just seems less significant because he got to 3,000 hits. So when Manny came up last night, before he got hit number 2,000, I immediately thought of, I don't know where I was when Tony hit 2,000 because, first of all, I don't know if it was, I can't even remember the year it was, but I was either not alive yet or so young I couldn't remember. And so not being at the game is different. So it's pretty cool for everybody that was at the game last night. And for all you parents that had young kids at the game that might not remember, you make sure you tell them the game that they were at where they witnessed Manny Machado hit 2000, hit 2000 and 2001, by the way. So 1993 when he got 2000. Yeah, again, I wasn't alive yet. So it was an opportunity to be able to witness the history. And again, in a Padres history that didn't have, at least in the last 30 years, too much to talk about. And you're getting a lot of that right now with Manny Machado and Fernando and the team. I mean, this new era of Padres baseball is way more fun to watch. But before that hit happened, again, I'm thinking about that. I played that highlight in my head. And then Manny rips the ball towards shortstop, goes off the glove of Perdomo, hard enough for a hit. And then you see the crowd react. And Manny, obviously, I mean, Manny was touched by that. You could tell. And he mentions in his postgame, we're going to get to that in the next segment, about just taking it all in. And so from the significance of seeing hit 2000, just personally as a fan, like, hey, I got to watch a baseball player accomplish something that not a lot of people have done, and I watched it on TV. I know where I was when this happened now. And then you start to think about just getting there in the first place. I mean, think about all the players in Major League Baseball, which, by the way, I had to look this up today because there was a couple of historical significance to last night that was more than just Manny Machado's 2000th hit. Had something to do with the battery last night. We'll get to that in a bit. But David Morgan, when he got pulled up this year, was player number 23,500 and something. So there has been less than 24,000 people that have walked this earth that have played Major League Baseball. Less than 24,000. Of those 24,000 people on this planet, Manny is the 297th person to get to the metric that he had last night. I mean, think about that for a second. And I got to pull up the exact, because there were so many of them that I saw last night. It was the 2,000 hits. How many people have made it to 2,000 hits? Plus, it was the 2,000 hits and the 350 home runs. But you look at some of the teams or some of the players that have done what Manny has done, and you look at the list, and there's just so many players in the Hall of Fame. He gets to 3,000 hits, he's automatically going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's close to a first ballot right now, if he isn't already a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is the 268th player to ever reach 2,000 hits. That's what it was. And he's the 79th player to also have at least 350 home runs. To get more specific, as Kevin Acee said in his daily newsletter, he is now just the 72nd player to have at least 2,001 hits and 357 home runs. Because obviously he didn't get 2,000 and 350 at the same time. 23,000 baseball players, just over 23,000 baseball players ever at the major league level. 268 of them have done what Manny Machado has done. And you witnessed number 268 last night. That's pretty remarkable. It's pretty crazy. You go over his milestones. His first hit was back in August 9th, 2012. He had his first home run the next day. He had his 100th home run of his career when he was wearing the Baltimore Orioles jersey in 2016. Got his 1,000th hit as a Dodger in 2018. And then for the Padres, he was able to get his 200th home run, his 1,500th hit, his 300th home run, his 350th home run, and his 2,000th hit. He's got 999 to go to get to 3,000. Kevin Acee in his newsletter puts out like what he has to do every year for the next handful of years to try to get to that point. Should Machado get 50 more hits this season, which I think is possible, and then average 130 hits over his next 5 seasons, which, by the way, as Kevin Acee talks about, is 26 fewer than he has averaged over his past 5 162-game seasons, he would be at, in the next 5 years, at 2,801 hit after the 2030 season, which would give him 3 years left on his deal to get the final 199. I think he could do it. And a couple things that show that he can do it. He posts all the time. He's got a good natural swing. We haven't seen any really decline in his performance. And it's going to be fun to watch him try to chase down 3,000 hits, especially for a Padres organization and our fan base that hasn't seen too many of those major milestones in their history. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we're going to hear from Mr. 2000, Mr. 2001 himself, as we got some audio. AJ Cassaville was kind enough to share some audio with us of Manny Machado post-game yesterday after a remarkable accomplishment. We'll talk about the other historical significance of last night's game. And then later on in the first act, we'll get to the gripes of the game. Because aside from Manny last night and some it wasn't that great a game. It was a pretty frustrating game last night. We'll get to the frustrations as well as we are just getting underway. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:21 on a Tuesday morning. Good morning to all of you out there driving around, hopefully getting to the destination you need to get to safely. Are we giving away tickets again today?
We are giving away tickets to tomorrow's game again today.
Wow. Tomorrow's game. Wednesday's game. We are going to be giving away tickets to it in the 1 o'clock hour. We will have a trivia question for you in the 1 o'clock hour to win 2 tickets. Correct. 2 tickets. My liner page froze again. That liner page upsets me. 2 tickets to the Padres Diamondbacks game on Wednesday. I'm going off memory. First 40,000 get the Sun Hat. The Padres City Connect Sun Hat, correct?
Yeah, let me get it up here. Hold on. So we could do the read properly here.
I think I got most of the hits right there.
You got basically most of it here.
I got it.
Let's go to it.
You won 2 tickets to the Padres Diamondbacks game this Wednesday. First 40,000 fans will receive a free Padres City Connect straw hat. I said sun hat instead of straw hat. Get your tickets at padres.com/tickets. Not bad. Hey, you
got to get the read right, man.
It's
you
close.
Didn't say 40,000 fans.
I said first 40,000 fans.
You didn't say it was a City Connect hat.
I said City Connect sun hat for the first 40,000 fans. You got replay back there.
We got to get your memory going, bud.
People in the chat. I literally just said that. We got the rerun function, and we got the. You have the ability to check.
We got the court recorders.
Yeah,
over here.
That's right. 100%. So 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock hour will be giving away tickets. Let's talk about Manny again. And then we can get to your negative side of yesterday's game. How many people do you think were really upset that Josh Naylor hit a home run against a lefty, his second home run against a lefty in his season?
Probably more than should be.
The ex-Padre curse strikes again. I mean, you knew that was happening, right?
Of course.
Come on.
At this point, it's expected.
It's expected. Yuki Matsui's out there. Josh Naylor. Guy doesn't hit lefties well. Hits a ball. As soon as he hit it, I'm like, that's gone.
Only thing that would have made it worse for us is if he would have hit it off of Wandy Peralta.
That would have made it slightly worse.
Then chat would have gone completely mental today.
Wandy wasn't that great last night either. But you know what? We'll break down the negatives when we come back in the next segment. But Manny Machado achieved a very important milestone, 2,000 hits. He got 2,000 and 2001 last night. And thanks to AJ Castle for sharing the audio with us down in the clubhouse last night. Here's what Manny had to say about him reaching that 2,000 hit milestone.
Special and honored to be a part of that list and accomplish something pretty special. So yeah, definitely would have wanted the victory, but stepping away from that, it's kind of pretty cool.
Pretty meaningful that you're able to do it in front of the San Diego fans here.
For sure, it's awesome. Doing it in front of the home crowd is definitely a lot better, and hopefully there's more.
Yeah, this is something that only 1% of ball players that ever take the field get a chance to accomplish. I mean, this takes a certain level of excellence. It takes consistency. It takes durability. Which of those characteristics do you think stands out mostly to you, or is it the whole package?
Oh man, it's hard. I think you mentioned it, but it's hella hard.
Yeah.
Trying to get 2 over the weekend or even for a week now. I mean, it kind of makes you realize how hard it is and how hard this game is. And to get 1 hit in the big leagues, it's very extremely hard. And let alone you look up there and you got 2,000 of them. I mean, that right there, you kind of just kind of notice how special it is and how special this game is. So. Yeah, man, it's just pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, that was, it's a humbling experience being recognized with some of the great and the greatest to ever play this game. I mean, for, players like Manny Machado, right? Like Manny Machado's played this game his entire life. From either Little League to travel ball to whatever his youth was like playing baseball through high school, getting drafted in the first round by Baltimore. Was he the 3rd pick? I think it was like the 3rd pick by Baltimore. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's one of the top 3.
Here we go, asking the Google machine again.
He's been right in step with Bryce Harper at the same time during most of his career, but he went from, being that kid with a dream to making the big leagues in which he has done. You have the answer?
Drafted 3rd overall by the Baltimore Orioles in
Wow.
2010.
Ball knower over here. It helped that in college when he was still playing for Baltimore, my roommate was an Orioles fan. And you remember, like, you watched this kid play when he came up with Baltimore. Came up as a shortstop. But you watched him play, and you're like, this guy's amazing. And you knew he was very talented at a young age. And he came up at a very young age, making his debut with the Orioles in August of 2012, and just putting on a show. He had a little setback with an injury. You know, he went through a very young phase. I mean, again, you're the young kid trying to come up and show everybody in baseball that you belong. And you know you're one of the best. And that swagger that Manny had as a young kid is that swagger that got him to this point that he is today. And there was a lot of growing pains, obviously. And he made his debut at 20 years old on August 9th, 2012 against the Kansas City Royals. Went 2 for 4 that day. He went through the stuff with Dustin Pedroia and the thing with Jesus Aguilar at first base when he was a part of the Dodgers. He gets traded by the team that drafted him and wanted to be part of the organization, and he gets shipped off as a hired gun to Los Angeles. He signs his big contract with the San Diego Padres. He's the first big signing of the San Diego Padres. Really the first big signing. There was big signings with Eric Hosmer, right? Will Myers. This is the biggest signing that the Padres have had. This really sent to everybody in baseball that the Padres they meant business. And so he gets to San Diego, and he goes from being the kid that was being, nurtured by J.J. Hardy and Adam Jones in Baltimore and learning how to be in the big leagues and be a big leaguer to now being the guy that's got to lead an organization that has never had success in the past. And if they did have success, it was very limited success. They built this team around Manny. They bring in the same year that they bring in Manny is the year that Fernando makes his debut in 2019. And so now he's got a young 20-year-old that was just like him, highly talented, talked about a lot. And now Manny flipped to being the mentor instead of the mentee. And he led by example, and he matured a lot. I mean, Manny has matured so much from being here day one as a Padre to day whatever it is now at age 33 years old. And so as he's trying to lead the Padres to a World Series and being the face of this franchise, and being one of the leaders and a guy that doesn't like to be limelight guy, he wants to play baseball. He has said this. You've seen the actions. His actions and his words match on this. That's why they have this leadership committee down there at Petco Park for the team. He doesn't want to be leader guy. That's fine. But he leads with his actions. And there's a lot of responsibility that falls on Manny's shoulders here in San Diego and in the Padres organization. And so he's got all this extra stuff that he's got to do. Just became a dad. And for last night, being able to, probably for the first time in a long time, I mean, think about like Manny Machado just going, trying to make the big leagues, trying to establish yourself in the big leagues, trying to stay in the big leagues, getting that big contract, showing you're one of the best players. And now you've accomplished all these things to age 33, and you got over 2,000 hits, and you are doing something that mostly only Hall of Famers have now done. You got to see him at first base after getting hit number 2,000, kind of take a deep breath, take it all in, look at the crowd, and have a moment. Manny's accomplished a lot of great things in his career. He just had to hit home run number 350, but hit number 2,000, you could tell meant a lot to Manny Machado. You could tell it meant a lot about where he came from, going through high school, getting drafted, becoming a major leaguer in Baltimore at age 20, establishing himself, going through this phase of the young guy that, got considered, East Coast people thought he was dirty on the slide on stuff, overcoming those things, having to get shipped off to LA not re-signing him, establishing himself as a San Diego Padre, and maturing into the, honestly, role model type player that you want your kids to be like. And him building roots here in San Diego now, being part owner of San Diego FC and embracing the community, doing all of this stuff to this point, and at the same time, still playing baseball. You got to see him at least for a split second last night on television and at Petco Park enjoy for a moment an accomplishment for him that obviously meant a lot, because you could see it in his face. I mean, it looked like he was going to tear up a little bit about what he accomplished. I've heard a lot of Manny Machado press conferences. That was the most Manny Machado interview that I have heard where he felt he got to see a little bit of his human side. And I think that was really cool. So a big thank you to AJ Caswell for getting us that sound. Big accomplishment for Manny Machado yesterday, getting 2,000 hits and number 2001. Now he's 999 away from trying to get to 3,000, which is another echelon for Manny Machado. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we talked about the good. We talked about the great. We're going to talk a little bit about the good and a lot about the bad about last night's game. When we come back, Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Baseball coverage on 97 through the Fan, presented by T-Mobile at T-Mobile.com. And get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Braden Surprenant Show with Frank Marchese. Talking Padres baseball. Talked about Manny Machado's accolades, what it meant, what it means to the Padres. What does it mean to you Padres fans? I didn't fully appreciate Hit 2000 until it happened yesterday. And again, maybe it's because I've gotten older and I appreciate things like this more than when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I just want the Padres to win. I don't really care what the accolades are. You hear like it's important, but you don't know why it's important. And then you think about how difficult it is for guys to get hits in Major League Baseball, and Manny's done it 2,001 times now. I mean, think about how many hits you have to get per season to accomplish these things. I mean, it's crazy. Last couple things on Manny. You know, Manny has now played, not after last night, this happened this season. Manny has played more games in a Padres uniform than an Orioles uniform, which is insane to me. I mean, when you think of Manny Machado now, do you think of the Padres hat? I mean, I think people in San Diego do. I think most people probably do now. And he accomplished a lot of great things in Baltimore. He's a 4-time All-Star in Baltimore. He's now a 3-time All-Star in San Diego. Manny has played 899 games in a Padres uniform. Tonight, if he's in the starting lineup, I don't know why he wouldn't be every night. Tonight will be game number 900 for Manny Machado in a Padres uniform. Game 900. You guys have seen Manny Machado play 899 games in a Padres uniform. In a Padres uniform, he has 951 hits. That's amazing. That has more home runs in a Padres uniform than any other uniform that he has worn. 182 home runs in a Padres uniform. That's crazy. Tonight will be game number 900. Every time, like Hall of Fame. I mean, I think Manny's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, at this point, what he's accomplished is pretty remarkable. I think he's playing to be a first ballot Hall of Famer at this point for everything that he's done. It'd be nice to add a World Series to it. But you didn't even really talk about the whole. I mean, when he's done with his career, he's going to have so many years in a Padres uniform over Baltimore. But we're now officially in the spot where he's played more games. 39 games ago, he passed the amount of games being in a Padres uniform compared to being a Baltimore Oriole. It's crazy. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. I mean, think about all the leaderboards in Padres history that Manny is just going to be on top of. I mean, Tony Gwynn has held almost every Padres record offensively because he's been, first of all, phenomenal player, elite. It's the reason why he's called Mr. Padres. A lot of other reasons for that. But another big, he's played like all his entire career in San Diego. We haven't had too many guys that have played multiple, like this many years in San Diego. And with him and Fernando and maybe Jackson Merrill and everything like that, going to be a lot more different names on the sheet. All right. Enough about Manny. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. Again, what does Manny Machado getting 2,000 hits mean to you as a Padres fan? That's significant? I mean, obviously the achievement's significant, but is it significant to you as a fan? I think this was pretty cool. Enough about Manny, though. Let's talk about the other thing. So that was the great thing that happened last night. We're talking about the great, the good, and we could say bad, but it might be ugly. Let's talk about the good. And the good last night was Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish was good. For somebody that hadn't pitched since October of last year in a Major League Baseball game, Yu Darvish kind of looked like what a pitcher would look like, except he looked even better. Yes, he did give up a couple of runs. And in his 75 pitch allotment, I think he threw around 68 pitches or something like that. I thought he looked really good. You would expect him to be a little wild. You would expect him to walk a couple of batters, which he did. I think he got squeezed a little bit, too. I don't think he was getting nearly as much of a zone as much as Zach Gallen was last night. But despite maybe getting a little squeezed and having a little bit of wildness, got a lot of swing and miss, and he had a lot of nasty pitches thrown up there. And I watched you pitch last night, and as I watched him pitch, he looked great. I mean, I thought he looked really good. The results, obviously, probably not what a lot of Padres fans would want, 3 2/3 innings. I think it was expected. But he didn't get knocked around too much. He's got all these pitchers. He's got so many different pitches. His sweeper looked nasty. I mean, there was a couple of balls he threw. It was like, how do you hit that? I mean, think about that for a second for you, Darvish. Guy's 38 years old. He is in his 20th professional baseball season. 20th. Yu Darvish made his professional season debut in 2005. I was 10. That's when he first pitched in a professional game in Japan. I was 10 years old. It was 2005. This guy's been around for a long time. Last night, Yu Darvish became the first Japanese pitcher to pitch in 13 MLB seasons, passing Hideo Nomo. His next start is also historic. If he gets a win, his next win. So next win he gets in the season will give him 204. His 203 wins between the Nippon Professional Baseball League, which he has 93, and Major League Baseball, which he has 110, are tied with Hiroki Kuroda for the most ever by a Japanese-born player. He looked good. The sweeper was there. It was working. I mean, I can't even name you all the pitches because he has 1,500 of them. But like I've said multiple times watching Yu Darvish, and people get frustrated, like, where is he? Why isn't he here? I don't really care when he pitches in the regular season. You know when I care when he pitches? August, September, and October. And if he wants to take August off, sounds good. As long as he looks kind of like that in September and October, I don't care how many games he plays in. I don't care. I think it's even worth the way he's getting paid. And to be honest with you, you look at the going rate for pitchers, that's not even a lot. He made a lot of good hitters in that Diamondbacks lineup look absolutely foolish at age 38. And this is why I think, people, like, he needs to retire. He's not playing, and he's getting hurt all the time. This is why I feel like he could pitch till he's 40. He's 38 years old. I think he could finish this contract. He's not a high velo guy anymore like he first came over to America for the Texas Rangers. But what he does with the spin and how he moves the pitches and how he locates, you could be successful like that for a long time. As long as he's willing to play. And you know what? If in the next couple of years, because he's signed till at least, I think he's 40 years old. He's 38 right now. Yu Darvish is under contract until 2028. I'm telling you right now, he's making $21 million this year, 16 next year, 15 the year after that, and 15 in 2028. You see some of these guys that are getting that kind of money, they're not pitching in a lot of games either. He takes care of his body. He knows his body the most. If he says he can't go until a certain point, I'm going to trust him. Guy's been pitching for 20 years. He looks like what he did last night. And by the way, it's going to be rusty. Pitching in Major League Baseball. We talked about getting hits in Major League Baseball, how difficult that is. Manny's done it 2,001 times. Pitching in Major League Baseball is insane. He made his first appearance in a Major League game since October. You would expect him to look like a spring training outing, get hit a little bit. He had simulated games. It wasn't even like he was doing a bunch of rehab assignments. And he looked that impressive last night. Yeah, I know he gave up a couple of runs. He got squeezed a little bit. He was a little wild. That's expected. He looked great. Now, the thing on him is going to be the durability for the rest of the season. If he goes on the IL again, it's back and forth, and you don't get him in October, then I agree. It's you might have to make a decision on this. But if he only plays half this, let's say he pitches half the season for the next 3 seasons, but he looks like that, I'll take it. He pitches the second half of every season for the next 3 seasons, like he did last night, and probably better. I mean, you know he could be better than that. I'll take it. He's got to be fresh. It's almost like it's the whole Marshawn Lynch thing, right? He missed the entire season. He's fresh. He's got fresh legs for the playoffs. We know that Yu is going to take care of his body. He did that last year when he left for personal leave. I don't care what he's leaving for personal leave for. That's his own business. I don't need to get into it. As long as he shows up, he knows what time the game starts for a playoff game, and whether or not he's got a ride, we're set. I don't mind him missing time if he's going to look like that. That was great. He's not a hard thrower like he used to be. He's still hitting 96. I mean, it's not even like it's like he's throwing soft stuff up there. It's going to be 39 in August. We've seen, Verlander's battling injuries, and Scherzer is. They're 43 years old. I mean, they look pretty decent in their age 40 season. I think Darvish has a couple years left, and if he only pitches half and kind of manages the times, you don't have to go through a full 162, I'm okay with that as a Padres fan. Because what you saw last night, and the taste of what you saw last night before he gets ramped up, because he's not even ramped up yet, that for half a season is worth $15 million in this day and age, where you could be a lot of other teams and have pitchers blow out their arms trying to go a full 162 game season. I liked it last night. I like what I saw to Darvish. That is very encouraging for the Padres starting rotation. I said it last week. I said if you lose Darvish, it's not that big of a deal because you've spent most of the last calendar year without him. It's more Michael King. But if you get that Darvish, and they got good news from Michael King. Don't expect him to pitch until August, but Jeff Sanders reported some good news that we're going to get to in the next hour about Michael King. So again, when do you need the Padres to be firing at all cylinders? That's September, which, by the way, look at the schedule in September. Padres going to be able to rack up some wins if they can weather the storm in August. But let's say you get Michael King back in August, and you pair him with you, and you have what Nick Pivetta is doing. All of a sudden, Dylan Cease is your number 4, and we haven't even talked about guys like Randy Vasquez, who has done a great job this season filling in. And guys like Stephen Kolek, who's taking a little bit of a break right now. And Ryan Bergert, who's done a really good job. Kyle Hart looked great the other night. You got a lot of... We didn't talk about Matt Waldron. I mean, all of a sudden, the starting staff looks a whole hell of a lot better than it did 2 weeks ago. Which I know you can say about any other team, right? If this guy gets healthy and this guy gets healthy and everything like that. But now all you're waiting for is Michael King to be healthy. And hope that Darvish is able to go in his next start. See, that's going to be the biggest teller to me. If Darvish, who's scheduled to pitch probably Saturday, is able to throw one more time before the All-Star break and he can get his pitch count up higher than it was in last night's game, Padres fans, think you're in good shape. I think you're in good shape with the starting pitching. We already know the bullpen's pretty legit. A couple of guys that are hit and miss. You don't want to see Wandy Peralta pitch in a high leverage game. You want to see, Yuki Matsui pitch. I got news for you. There ain't a lot of teams in Major League Baseball that got lockdown bullpens top to bottom. There's a couple of guys in there that are going to give up runs. Guys are going to give up runs. It's managing when those runs are given up, and it's a little bit better when your offense is showing a little production. Which incline leads to our bad or ugly of last night's game. And it wasn't all ugly. There were some good at-bats in there. But you go back to the runners in scoring position problem that the Padres have. And there are a couple of situations that you look at it and go, you know what? Maybe we need to find a different solution in the 8-9 spot. We all know this. But there might be some extra problems in there that we need to mention when it comes to runners in scoring position. That was the bad from last night. We're going to take a deeper dive into that coming up to start the next hour because we're almost out of time here. But overall, I thought Yu Darvish looked good last night. He got squeezed. I thought he got squeezed. I said, oh, he got squeezed a little bit. Frank off-air was like, oh, that guy was getting totally squeezed. I thought last night's home plate umpire, and it's not hit. Padres got a hit, but I would offer to say the home plate umpire last night swayed the game by 2 runs, one in favor of the Diamondbacks and one not helping out the Padres in terms of offensively. But you know what? That's going to happen. It's part of the game. Got to be able to overcome it. We talked about the great that was Manny Machado's 2000th hit. We talked about the good and the encouraging sign of Yu Darvish. Let's talk about the ugly of the Padres offense. We'll talk about that when we come back, and some good news on the Michael King front. We'll talk about that also. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. San Arizona Sports Station 97.2 The Fan. Hour number 2 on the Braden Surprenant Show, alongside Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, talking about Padres baseball in the game last night. We talked about the great Manny Machado getting hit number 2,000 and 2001. We talked about the good, which was you, Darvish. And let's talk about the ugly. That would be the San Diego Padres offense. Now, not all of it, but some of. When you look at the Padres offense last night, there was a decent amount of good at-bats. Saw some good production out of some guys, some hard-hit balls. I mean, Fernando hit a couple hard-hit balls last night. Didn't get very lucky. You look at guys like Xander Bogaerts got another knock last night. Manny Machado, of course, had his 2 knocks, one being a home run. They looked pretty good. Machado with 3 for 5 last night with a run scored. Great to see. Cronenworth got a knock. That's kind of hit. Again, not all of it bad. Padres had 7 hits. The biggest problem for the Padres, of course, has been the runners in scoring position. They've been 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. But I think it's deeper than that when you look at the situations with runners in scoring position. Let's pull up some of these situations that the Padres have had. And I don't know if they're in the order or not on StreamYard, Frank. But let's talk about some of these situations. So here's the bottom of the 4th inning last night for the San Diego Padres. These are we're going to look at when guys are coming up with runners in scoring position. Padres were 0 for 6 last night. Luis Arraez went 0 for in the 1st inning because he didn't get a hit even though they scored. And then Gavin Sheets grounded out. So the 1st inning, the Padres were 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. They did score a run, though. Those are the 2. Let's get to the remaining 4 out of the 0 for 6. Because, again, it's all about hitting with runners in scoring position, right? So the next opportunity the Padres had in hitting with runners in scoring position was back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Manny Machado started the inning off on a single to shortstop. Arraez lined out for out number 1. Sheets struck out. Then Bogaerts singled. By the way, that Sheets strikeout he should have walked. I think he walked twice in that at bat. He should have been on, but he's not. Can't say what if. Bogaerts singles, puts runners on 1st and 2nd. Now you're up there with runners in scoring position. Jake Cronenworth is hit by a pitch. And then Trenton Brooks comes up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. He ends up flying out to center field. But this is the big first situation. Bases loaded. Who's coming up? Number 8 in the order. You guys got to quickly see a pattern here. Trenton Brooks is starting right now. Again, San Diego kid, went to Granite Hills High School. But the fact that he's starting games in general is tough. But also, they don't have anybody else coming off the bench either. They have nobody on the bench. They don't even have an old getting Mark Kotsay back on the Padres mid-2000s veteran guy that you would feel more confident in than anybody else that they have on the bench. They have nothing coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. You wouldn't use a pinch hitter here, but this is your DH in the bottom of the 4th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. You don't have a lot of confidence in Trenton Brooks. That made it 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. 5th inning, they go 1, 2, 3. 6th inning, they go almost 1, 2, 3. They had a four batter deal in that. We get to the 7th inning. So now you're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jake Cronenworth reaches on a throwing error by Geraldo Perdomo. Iglesias comes in to pinch hit for Trenton Brooks. Iglesias singles. Now you have runners on 1st and 2nd and nobody out. And guess who's up? It's your number 9 hitter. So before you have Iglesias pinch hitting. Again, you don't really have a pinch hitter. You have nobody on the bench that you're like, this is the guy that needs to come up if we need a spark off the bench. They went to Jose Iglesias. He got a hit. All right, sounds good. Now you have runners in scoring position. Again. And who is up? It's number 9 in the order. Martin Maldonado. Doesn't get a hit. Fair enough. Ends up getting a sacrifice bunt. That's fine. Advances both runners. Tatis grounds out. Is able to get Cronenworth in. Still not a hit. Which makes another offer. Iglesias gets the third. Merrill comes up. Pops up in the third. Pops up to third baseman. And Eugenio Suarez in foul territory. Ends it. At least they got a run out of it. Then you go to the 8th inning. After Wandy Peralta makes the lead bigger for the Arizona Diamondbacks, as the Diamondbacks add 2 back. So the Padres get a run, and then Arizona adds 2 back. We get to the 8th inning. Manny leads off the 8th inning with a home run. Guy's had a great night. Cuts the deficit in half. Arise walks. Gavin Sheets grounds out. Happens. And then they put in Juan Murillo. Juan Murillo comes in and can't throw a strike. In fact, during his outing, he throws like 3 balls in the zone. Xander walks. Then you get a wild pitch by Murillo. Arise is at third, and Bogarts is at second with 1 out in the 8th inning. The tying run is at the plate. It's Jake Cronenworth. He walks. Murillo cannot throw a strike. He cannot throw a strike. And so now the bases are loaded with 1 out. In a 6-3 game, you have the go-ahead run at the plate. Who is it? It's Jose Iglesias. It's your number 8 batter in the order. You should be in a situation where any part in your lineup could do some damage where walking the bases loaded is catastrophically bad for a bullpen. For a bullpen, by the way, in Arizona, that has cost them so many games. Their bullpen is garbage. It is one of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball. You look at the Diamondbacks record, you can blame injuries as much as you want, but on top of that, Arizona knows and their fans know their bullpen is hot garbage. Murillo just walked the bases loaded. You have the go-ahead run at the dish with 1 out in the 8th inning, and it's Jose Iglesias, and he takes ball 1. He takes ball 1. Murillo has walked Bogarts. He has walked Cronenworth. In between, he has had a wild pitch. The bases are loaded with 1 out. Iglesias took ball 1. And then Jose decides to swing at 99 on his hands, and he pops it up. And it's an infield fly. The most unproductive at-bat you could ever get. Besides basically a strikeout. Murillo had just walked the bases loaded. The guy cannot find the strike zone. He can't find it. He looked almost more of a circus than Michael Kopech. The only difference was he didn't trip over his own feet throwing the ball to home plate. This is where the aggressive thing kind of hurts you. Being the aggressive team. I think this is a little bit on the reckless side than anything else. The 2 guys in front of you just walked. Murillo cannot buy a strike. He's already had a wild pitch that advanced runners. It's a 1-0 count, and you're swinging out of your shoes at 99 on the hands. What are we doing? What are we doing? So Iglesias pops up. Okay, well, looking at the lineup, who's coming up next? Oh, it's the number 9 hitter. Let's not have Martin Maldonado do it. Let's have the other guy do it. Again, you don't have anybody on the bench. Who is the ace in the hole? Who's your silver bullet, as Mike Schultz said? He said it was Trenton Brooks the other day. Are you kidding me? So let's replace Martin Maldonado with a slightly higher average Martin Maldonado. And here's Elias Diaz. So now out of the 0 for 6 that you have had tonight, or last night for the Padres, 4 of the at-bats came with your 8 and 9 hitter in the order. What did Diaz do? He strikes out swinging. If I'm any team in baseball, like Murillo's sitting there going, I can't even throw a strike. But you know what? If I make it through Cronenworth, I'm going to have the bases loaded, which kind of sucks. With only 1 out, that kind of sucks. But I get to face the number 8 and 9 batters in the Padres order. Nobody's afraid of them. You could say what you want about Jackson Merrill being in a slump. You could say what you want about Fernando not having the greatest last 2 months. You could say what you want about Xander Bogaerts, who was off to a slow start of the season. He's getting a little bit better now, but not living up to his contract. You can say what you want about the stars on this team, but the Padres, every single day with the lineup that they have, go in at a disadvantage against their opponent. Because number 8, number 9 in the order are almost automatic outs. And it doesn't even matter who's batting there. I am not saying anything that the Padres organization doesn't already know. They know this. They're trying to find solutions to said problem. But you can say what you want about Jackson Merrill in a massive slump who looks lost. I'm telling you right now, if you don't improve with average, I'm just talking average bats, would make a whole hell of a lot better of a difference for the San Diego Padres. Bases loaded, 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning, you're down 3. Good teams find a way to score runs there. And you know what? The core 6 did their job in that inning. Manny Machado hit a home run. Luis Arraez worked a walk. Now, if you're thinking with Gavin Sheets, and you know in the order, you're sitting there, Gavin Sheets. Gavin's like, I got to put the ball over the fence, or we're not even scoring any runs. We talked about pressure yesterday. You want to talk about even more pressure? More pressure in the sense that, I don't know, if I don't get a hit here, we're not going to score. Because the guys coming up after me are not going to get a hit. So Gavin Sheets like swinging out of his shoes to try to make something happen. Again, you can say what you want about Gavin Sheets' at-bat there. He's got to come through. There is way more pressure on the core 6 to perform because 7, 8, 9 or 8 and 9 in the order can't get the job done. When you look at other baseball teams, their core 6 or their guys that get paid the most, their stars that are expected to be the main reason they win, when they go in slumps, they have parts of the order that could get the job done, so the pressure and the stretch is not as long and significant as it has been for the Padres stars. Because they know they don't have to do anything crazy. In this particular instance, again, you could talk about lineup construct. Mike Schultz dealing with what he's got. I mean, it's not like he's playing the wrong guys. This is what he has. As much as I've said, like Trenton Brooks in the starting lineup, it's not great. He might give you the best opportunity right now out of what you have to win. So it's not a lineup card thing. This is a roster construction thing. And until they address this, you're going to see some frustrating performances. You just are. Core 6 in that inning did their job, as I mentioned. Machado hit a homer. Arraez got on base. Gavin Sheets trying to do something. Grounds out. Xander Bogaerts walked. Jake Cronenworth walked. They all did their job. They had the patient at bats. They weren't swinging out of pitches out of the zone. They were doing the little things. They were looking like, by the way, that offense that I talked about yesterday, what we saw against Texas. If they could continue it at a consistent basis, they'd be great. They did that inning. And then 8-9 come up. I think the at-bat by Iglesias was awful in general. 3 guys in front of you walking, and the guy can't find the zone, and you swing at 99 at the hands. I mean, you got to be more selective than that in that particular instance. He pops up, Diaz strikes out. That's all she wrote. Get the top of the order, I guess, in the 9th inning, but at that time, the damage has been done. It's a major problem for the Padres. And here's the thing. I'm going to spin it in a positive direction when we come back, but it is what it is until they make any types of movement. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Why making a move right now doesn't make sense when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Antonio Sports Station 97 through the Fan. a little bit longer. Cole Wetzel out there. Adam was fired up after that last segment. It's true.
I think what I said really helped him calm down.
You escalated the problem by mentioning Kirk Cousins.
As reported by Adam Schefter, Kirk Cousins has the first ever Great Clips VIP card, so he gets free haircuts for life now.
Sick.
Good on him.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
You guys all driving? You guys all better now? Everybody driving around now, knowing that information.
That was a Schefter bomb too, from about a half hour ago.
And I'm just stressed with work and all this other stuff, driving around. Oh, Kirk Cousins got a haircut too. Sleep so much better at night.
See, I provide the comedic relief when
That's
two
right.
guys are going at it in a heated conversation. I just bring up something completely random that just calms everything down.
Those two guys in a heated conversation on the same side of
True.
said conversation.
Yes, very true.
I mentioned I'm going to tease. I teased it. The thing with the Padres, we all know what the problem is. I mentioned on my show. I don't want to hear people complain about the problems. Let's find solutions. I think the solution to this problem is still a couple of weeks away. Now, your catching situation's one thing. We talked about that yesterday. It's time to start giving Camposano a chance every single day. I know he doesn't receive as good as Diaz and Maldonado. I understand there could be some of the pitchers might not like throwing to him compared to other. I know that all the drama that's like that when it comes to pitching and catching, and you want to screw up a good thing. The Padres pitching staff has been really good. Okay, I get that, but you gotta try at this point, and you can't just give him like a couple at bats and have him sit. I mean, he has to get significant amount of playing time, and maybe it is DH. Maybe I'm DH like every single day until he gets into an offensive rhythm. But you have to find a solution to your catching problem, and there's not a lot of them out there. Now, in terms of left field, there's a lot of left fielders out there. Ramon Laureano is one of those guys that people have talked about. He's had a great year for Baltimore. He's part of the list of Baltimore Orioles that are rentals. And part of the list that I said, if you made a trade with Baltimore, you could solve all your problems. You can have a pitching, you can have a pitcher, you can have this, that. I mean, there's a couple. Some of the guys are banged up. That's a risk in itself, but you're taking risks at the trade deadline. You're not looking for all-stars, and I've already mentioned this before. You're looking for average major league players, professional hitters. They don't even need to have a high WAR. It just needs to not be negative. Think about all the players at the bottom of the Padres order right now. If you're a big WAR person, wins above replacement, it's an average deal, right? Kind of give you the comparison of what the player is compared to an average player in Major League Baseball. I mean, your bottom of the order is negative WAR. And until somebody plays more games than Jason Hayward did in a Padres uniform, if you go to Baseball Reference, I mean, there's only a handful. He's still factored in as the majority left fielder, but he had a negative WAR. Look at the Padres bench. That's just in B WAR. I'm sure F WAR is kind of the same. They just factor a little bit more defense than anything else. Jose Iglesias, negative 0.7 WAR. Martin Maldonado, negative 0.4 WAR. Tyler Wade, negative 0.4 WAR. Lockridge, negative. Trenton Brooks, negative. Luis Camposano, negative. Tirso Ornelas, negative. Mason McCoy, negative for the limited time that he was up here. You just need average players. They're not hard to get. Now, that being said, this is where I'm going to defend AJ Pro and the Padres why they haven't made a move yet. I would rather weather the storm, because right now you've been weathering the storm for the last couple of months. Padres are back to 6 games over 500. Okay, if they split this week with Arizona, they'll be back to the 7 games over 500, which is right back where you started at the beginning of the season. Done a good job with that anyway. I would rather have AJ Preller make the best decision for the Padres in left field or an extra bat than make a knee-jerk reaction of, I just got to get somebody right now. I would rather have the best solution instead of a solution. Now, that could change over a course of a couple of weeks. But to just have a knee-jerk reaction and you're like, well, you got to go get some guys because it's easy to get. Like, you could do that. But sometimes you want to be quick triggered. You got to see how everything plays out. It's not dire for the Padres. This current Padres team will not make it through the playoffs. That is a true statement. I believe that. I totally believe that. As constructed, a team rolling out Trenton Brooks in the starting lineup is not winning in the postseason. They're just not. He's not a good, solid, everyday Major League Baseball player. He's doing what he can right now on the Padres. And it's not a knock on Trenton Brooks, but he's not the only one. The bench has nothing. And the bottom half of the lineup is not good. But on the same side of things, they are constructed with the superstars that they have and the stars. I mean, you can say what you want. Any sign of downturn for any of the players that they've signed under contract for a long time, people want to, immediately crush them for no reason. But with those core six, you're good enough to win games and play about 500 ball. You can do that and survive until the trade deadline. You don't have to make a knee-jerk reaction or a knee-jerk move, which could also be catastrophically bad. AJ Preller knows when to pull the trigger on things, and it's going to be closer to the trade deadline than it is right now. We all know the problem. I think the solution is coming. It just might be a little bit longer than you think. I don't think it's happening before the All-Star break. So be ready to watch the same thing over and over again. Most of the Padres' problems, again, stem from one thing. And it's lack of their ability to hit with runners in scoring position. But on top of that, it's really their depth. You want to know what their 8 and 9 batters are doing? I'll tell you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:34 Tuesday morning, about to be the Tuesday lunchtime hour. We have instructional videos for the YouTube chat on how to get to Craft Taco in Balboa Park. After seeing said videos, I have two sides to this. One, I don't know how you can miss it. Two, I understand if you thought it was like a cafe of some kind.
Yes.
The local cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I thought it was.
We'll let the audience decide.
I have not seen these videos yet. So this should be entertaining.
I sent them to you. You got them loaded up, ready to go.
I have them loaded up and ready to go, yes.
It is not hard to find Craft Taco at the Nat. So if you go to the Nat, get Craft Taco. Today's Tuesday. It's free Tuesdays for some things. Is the Nat free today? Did we determine that?
The Nat was free last Tuesday.
Are you going to the Railroad Museum today?
No, I think that was also last Tuesday. I think it's the Air and Space Museum is free today.
Oh, that's up your alley, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Very much so, as a matter of fact.
I like the SR-71 outside.
Yes.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I teased going to break. I said the 8-9 hitters for the Pods this season. And again, you look at the runners in scoring position tell a side of the story. It doesn't tell the whole story. When you got your core six not coming up as many times as maybe your 8 and your 9 hitters who have been not great, it might show how teams are navigating the Padres lineup. Might also show why the Padres aren't getting hits with runners in scoring position. Padres 8-hole hitters all year. Anybody that's hitting the 8 spot. A 66 weighted runs created plus. It's an offensive metric. All you need to know, if you've never heard of weighted runs created plus, just to dumb things down a little bit, simplify them. Because again, a lot of these stats are new and all over the place. If it's less than 100, it's not very good. 100 for WRC plus, or basically any of the stats that you see that got a little plus next to it, that compares that particular player to the rest of baseball, and 100 is the average Major League Baseball player in that category. So, they are at 66 in WRC plus. Not great. They're 34% worse than an average Major League Baseball player. 34% worse than an average major leaguer. That's, again, why I've said at the trade deadline, you just need to pick up a couple average players. That's it. You don't have to have a bunch of all-stars. If that was 100, you'd probably have won like 4 or 5 extra games. Probably would have got a couple of hits last night with runners in scoring position. That was the 8-hole. WRC plus of a 66 out of all 8 batters in the lineup. Players that have hit 8th in the lineup. 9-hole hitters. Oh, by the way, the slash line. A 192 batting average, a 270 on base, and a 303 on base or slugging percentage. Not ideal. This is just batting all the year. This is not just like with runners in scoring position. This is the 8th spot in the lineup all season long. 9-hole hitter. A 61 WRC plus. It gets worse. A 61 WRC plus. That means players that have hit 9th for the Padres have done 39% worse than an average Major League Baseball player in creating runs in that particular statistical category. They've hit slightly better, 196 average, with a 264 on base and a 289 slugging. That is awful. That is awful. Now, big thanks to Too Much Morton's on social media for posting and doing that research for us. But the 8 and 9 spots in the Padres batting order are awful. Beyond awful. It needs to be improved. It needs to be improved. And again, this is like we mentioned before. It is a look at the trade deadline. You don't need those players to have a 150 WRC plus. You will take a 100. And getting a good, solid major leaguer, everyday major leaguer, to fill out the roster is going to be way more beneficial to the San Diego Padres. It changes the whole dynamic of the lineup, as I've been mentioning for the last hour or so. Now you don't have guys like Gavin Sheets having to do too much. For a player, by the way, that has found a new lease on life in San Diego. I mean, he got cut from the White Sox. He's done really well. But let's just think about this. Again, I mentioned it yesterday on the show. Let's just play the game a little bit. Just adding a bat or two that are average players does a couple of things. If you go out and get an actual left fielder, I think Gavin Sheets has done a fine job filling in left field. He's done a fine job. He is not a great defensive player in left field. He's done a lot better than what he was at the beginning of the season. I think he's made some good plays, but he's not somebody you want in left field defensively. If you just go get one left fielder, let's just say you get a left fielder. That's it. Just a left fielder. You get a Ramon Laureano. You have drastically improved your defense because what it does is it moves Sheets to a different spot. So now Sheets can either be the DH right? He can play a little first, maybe, or he comes off the bench in certain situations. Your DH right now is Trenton Brooks. You get Ramon Laureano, just him. I'm not saying the Padres should do this, but just using it as an example. You get Ramon Laureano, you put him in left field. Your defense has gotten drastically better. And now, Gavin Sheets is your designated hitter. And however you want to construct the lineup. Now, Ramon Laureano's having a great year. He's hitting over 300. However you want to construct the lineup, all of a sudden, you bump everybody down. And instead of Trenton Brooks coming in at number 8 in the batting order, you get maybe a Jake Cronenworth batting 8th. If you add Ramon Laureano to the roster. Jake Cronenworth hitting 242, batting 8th. Not bad. That's actually pretty good. You have the bases loaded and 1 out. Jake Cronenworth's up. I like my chances a lot better than Trenton Brooks or Jose Iglesias or whatever. Let's say you get 2 players. Again, they could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a catcher. You get 2 bats. And remember, AJ Preller, we played it on the show yesterday, said he's looking for a couple of bats. You get a left fielder and you get a DH. Now, all of a sudden, let's think about this lineup for a second. Maybe Gavin, especially if he's a right-handed hitter, Gavin Sheets is only starting against righties. And so you have Gavin Sheets now as a designated hitter, only against righties. And against the lefty, you need a bat off the bench late in the game. You can call on Gavin Sheets to come up. So instead of pinch hitting Elias Diaz for Martin Maldonado last night, all of a sudden Gavin Sheets comes in. And now you have Gavin Sheets with the bases loaded. And all you did was add 2 players to the roster. That's all you did. 2 average baseball players, and it drastically changes the makeup of this team. It moves players into different spots. And the other thing, too, because we had somebody call in, and we didn't get to his phone call in time. He ended up hanging up. He wanted to send Jackson Merrill down to AAA El Paso, which is just, come on. I'm not even going to entertain that. But Jackson Merrill right now, who is struggling mightily, and has now seen his average tick down to 270, which is still pretty good, but that talks a lot about what he was at the beginning of the season. When he struggles, you could move him down. If you got guys contributing, you could bat him like 6th or 7th, like he was last year. Can't really move him down. I mean, there's not really a lot of places or people that you could replace him in the number 2 spot. Look at this lineup depth. And this is some of the moves. And again, like AJ Preller keeps it exciting, and he does a great job acquiring talent. I think he's one of the best at acquiring talent. But the thing he hasn't been good at, and maybe it's financial, like I don't know all the details of what he's allowed to do in the offseason compared to what he's allowed to do in the regular season, if he gets a little bit of a boost because the tickets. I don't know what those stipulations are for AJ Preller. But I will say this. This is why waiting to the last minute to the trade deadline is never a great idea, because a lot of these positions could have been addressed during the offseason with average players. And I'm not talking players that are on the fringes, hanging on for their major league careers that are not going to get picked up on waivers. Like a Yuli Gurriel, like a Jason Hayward, or even a Connor Joe. I don't think Connor Joe got enough time to potentially fill in here in San Diego. But you look at some of the teams that are off to good starts and are here at the halfway point near the top of the order in the standings. They got depth, and they went out and got guys that are average Major League Baseball players. And it's happened before the Padres. I mean, it worked out last year with Donovan Solano and David Peralta. Got an average guy in Kyle Higashioka. Now, I don't think the Padres should have brought those guys back, but I think it's more cost-effective to have those players on the team at the beginning of the season than at the deadline going, we got to go trade for XYZ just to get us back to a good status, instead of having those players that you got in the offseason to fill out your roster, and then you're adding to make your team maybe go to from the good to the great or great to the elite. Now they're playing a little bit of catch-up. Again, the solutions are there. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time. But last night with the Padres, I mean, a lot of their problems, again, lack of depth. And it's not like, and again, it's not a Mike Schilt problem. He's playing what he's got. We'll talk about that from a pitching standpoint in the noon lunchtime hour after we give the instructions on how to go to Craft Taco and after the sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, we got Frank Marchese. He does not have barbecue back there, but he's got 5 sports stories that don't involve the Padres.
I do, and we're going to start off.
Number 1.
We're going to start off in dangerous territory. We will start off in Kansas City, Kansas.
Where do the Chiefs play, dude? Where do the Chiefs play?
Where the state has extended their deadline for the Chiefs and Royals to leave Missouri and cross state lines.
Are we sure about that? Where do the Chiefs play, dude? All right, I'm done.
The state of Kansas approved the use of bonds to cover 70% of the cost of the new stadium yesterday and have moved the deadline from June 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. The Kansas legislature has indicated that they would like to have an answer before the end of the calendar year 2025. What do you think could possibly be holding up the move from being announced at this point?
What's the announcement? They're probably waiting for a counteroffer from Missouri so they don't have to move.
From everything we've seen, Missouri is not really doing much of anything to try to keep him.
I think the Chiefs and the Royals are trying to hold out, so they don't have to move, and then wait for hopefully Missouri to panic and be like, we can't afford to let these guys walk, and that's what they're waiting for. And after that, when they get the deal, they're going to be like, see ya. Maybe they're waiting for the environmental impact report. Oh wait, that's just a California thing.
Right, there it is. I mean, it could be just moving down the street, no? So how close to the state line are they?
That's a long street. I mean, yeah,
might be called an interstate. I think.
I don't think they're changing parking lots. I'll tell you that.
Well,
I don't think it's as simple as going to the other side of the parking lot. State line goes right through the middle of the facility out there.
That would be quite convenient, though, I will say.
Number 2.
We go back to the Travelers Championship to look at Jordan Spieth, who had a career first. The Travelers was the first time in Spieth's 297 tournament career that he had to withdraw from a tournament. Spieth claimed neck spasms were the reason he withdrew, but has recently made comments saying that he is healthy and will be entering the Open Championship. Spieth said that he is feeling good and has absolutely no restrictions going into the last major of the year. Do you think Spieth comes out with a little extra something after having to withdraw for the first time in his career?
Maybe. I mean, Jordan Spieth jumped out to a great start to his career, and then he's just kind of disappeared for years.
Yeah.
I don't know how much extra juice he has to give at this point. I mean, I guess I don't think he's going to get any extra juice going into this deal. I think, maybe it might flip him around, but has Jordan Spieth kind of been a disappointment after the start to his career that he's had?
I mean, he's still winning tournaments. He's got 3 majors. It's not he hasn't had the worst career already.
He had most of that when he just started.
Right.
Everybody's talking about him breaking woods and records and all this other stuff. He's kind of cooled off.
You're not going to find those players all too often.
I know.
To break records set by Tiger Woods and Arnold Palmer and everything.
Number 3.
We spoke a few weeks ago. The NHL and NHLPA seemed as though they were in good spirits about the upcoming collective bargaining agreement. Well, this morning, a deal was announced that will extend the NHL CBA through to the 2029-2030 season. Many details still have not been confirmed, but we do know that starting in 2026-27, the league will bump the schedule to 84 games and will shorten max term contracts. We both were against the increase of the schedule. Are you surprised that the players went along with a longer season?
I am a little surprised about that, but there's give and take. They probably got something back that they really wanted. Shorting the long-term contracts a benefit to the players. I mean, I don't know how their contract scale or deal works compared to other leagues. So, I mean, it's all leverage, right? And it's all about negotiating. So they'll play the extra games if they get a benefit that they didn't think they would be able to get. So they obviously got something that they liked that they didn't think the owners would give them, or their Players Association sucks. I mean, that's just the two. Like with Major League Baseball, the players are getting something back. With the NFL, they're probably getting hosed. That's kind of how it works. So I don't know how the Players Association is in hockey. I'm sorry, it was not my week to pay attention to the collective bargaining agreement of the NHL.
Well, those are really the only two details that have come out so far.
There's probably something else in there that benefits the players, or their deal sucks.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, it's not necessarily more games. They got rid of 2 preseason games to get these 2 regular season games. So it's still the same amount of games, just 2 more actually.
Just 2 count 2 don't
mean something.
How many preseason games do they play? Like 6?
Yeah, right around there. I think they play everyone in the division at least once or twice.
I never played hockey, so I don't know how many games it would take me. Like, I don't understand how many games I would need to get up to speed.
Mm-hmm.
I know baseball's way too many in spring training. And same with the NFL. Like football, you really only need like 1, maybe 2 to get the rust off. Other than that, you don't really need that many games. So I'm curious what the hockey people think.
And by the way, congratulations. Yesterday was announced, friend of the show, Don LaGreca, will be the new play-by-play voice for the New Jersey Devils on MSG TV. So congratulations to Don.
Big congrats.
Number 4.
The Yankees have been on a slide recently, and while I'm not complaining, they may have just made the trade deadline a little bit more difficult. The Yankees announced over the weekend that starter Clark Schmidt will need Tommy John surgery, putting an end to his 2025 campaign. This now adds another team that will desperately be looking for pitching help at the deadline, which is already an oversaturated market. Does this Yankee injury make it more imperative for the Padres to get Michael King back and for you, Darvish, to look like the you of old quicker?
Well, yeah, that's definitely the case. If they get Michael King back, and we got an update from Jeff Sanders that we'll get to when we come back, they need Michael King back. If they get Michael King back, then they don't have to worry about. I honestly don't think the Padres need to worry about adding a starting pitcher, at least the top echelon one. If they want to get a guy that eats innings like Martin Perez last year, fine. But it would definitely benefit the Padres to not have to be part of the starting pitching market at the deadline.
Yeah, and again, it's oversaturated. There are so many teams that are looking for starting pitching help, and to throw another one in there. I mean, the Yankees were already going to need starting pitching because, again, you're out without Garrett Cole for this year. You still haven't seen Luis Gil pitch. So to lose Clark Schmidt, I mean, that's another big name. They are going to be desperately looking for something.
Everybody needs pitching. That's why I said we talked about it with Dylan Cease stuff yesterday. Why would you give up starting pitching to have it? But there's got to be players for guys like Dylan Cease if the Padres wanted to trade him. He needs starting pitching. Good job on that, Frank. When we come back, we found a map on how to get Craft Taco, plus good news on Michael King. Braden Surprenant Show continues.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
It's time for the new lunchtime hour on 97 through the Fan. Braden Surprenant, the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This noon lunch hour is brought to you by The Craft Taco. Bold flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. It's there. Trust us.
So
It's
I've
there.
heard.
We will get to how easy it is to get to the Craft Taco at the net in just a little bit. But I do want to talk a little bit about Michael King. And it kind of was spurred from, and we were going to get to it eventually. I teased it enough. There was good news on Michael King yesterday in an article by Jeff Sanders, writing for the Union Tribune. Re-sparked everything when Frank brought up the fact that Casey Schmidt's out for the year. Starting pitching situation at the trade deadline is going to be a little dire for a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that need starting pitching. The Padres, after what you looked like last night, he looked pretty good. Sweeper was sweeping, man. The sweeper looked nasty. He almost looked like he hadn't missed a beat since he last pitched, and he didn't pitch since October of last year. He looked really good. I said a couple of weeks ago, if they don't get King back or Yu Darvish, or really, if they don't get Yu Darvish back, I think they'll still be okay. But if they don't get King back, they're in really, really good trouble. If they get neither of them back, they're going to have to try to piece together a starting rotation if they want to compete in the second half of the season. Well, you got Yu Darvish back. Now, he needs to stay healthy, and hopefully today he feels good. And so now you're next up with Michael King. Michael King is the ace of the staff. He's missed a significant amount of time. And so yesterday he was moved to the 60-day injured list, which a lot of people always see and freak out. Like it's going to reset the clock. It doesn't. He gets the amount of time that he's already been on the injured list added to it. It's more of a paperwork move, everything else. But this is the update that we had on Michael King. Again, from Jeff Sanders. And I think we have some sound bites from Michael King, if I'm not mistaken.
You have to give me a minute to get it ready, though.
Well, let's lay out exactly what we learned about Michael King, and then we'll let Michael King speak for himself. Okay. So, as Jeff Sanders reported yesterday in the San Diego Union Tribune, Michael King is making meaningful progress in his return from the long thoracic nerve issue that landed him on the injured list on May 25th. After weeks of waiting for nerve function to return, King has played catch from 90 feet, did that Monday, will throw from 120 feet on Tuesday, today, and will throw off a mound Thursday in what is being described as a touch and feel session. His first time doing so since the injury. That's major significant news for the San Diego Padres. Michael King's thrown off a mound on Thursday? That sounds great. Again, yesterday's report from Kevin Acee before this report was don't expect to see Michael King until August. I still think that's probably a good expectation. So just because he's thrown off a mound on Thursday doesn't mean he's going to be pitching anytime soon. Again, you're going to make it through the weekend. He's not going to pitch. And then you have a week off for the All-Star break, and then you start on the road on the Comic-Con road trip. And then when the Padres come back, maybe start thinking about Michael King post-deadline because the Padres don't come back until post-deadline anyway. While King has moved to the 6-day injured list, again, as I mentioned before, it's described as a paperwork move, not a setback. He was always expected to miss more than 60 days due to needing to rebuild up arm strength. Importantly, since this is a soft tissue injury, his return could come faster once he begins ramping up. King had this to say about the situation.
Momentum.
Oh yeah, definitely. And obviously it was a nerve thing, so it wasn't like a soft tissue thing, so I don't have to try to make sure that something's healed properly. You know, it's just everything in there was great going into it. It's just nerve shut off, so now I'm getting nerve firing again. It's just that normal buildup and trying to stay safe, but try to push as much as I can because I want to be back as soon as possible.
How has this period been for you, waiting for it to fire?
It was tough. First couple of weeks, especially not knowing what it was, and not being able to move my arm in a way that I've moved my entire life was definitely weird. But we grinded through it, and yeah, I know I said the other day I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's now just a normal build-up. So I feel like I'm almost in spring training all over again, and just trying to be ready as fast as possible.
You Darvish on the mound tonight again. What does that mean for this team?
Oh my God! I mean, you can probably see it on my face. I mean, just seeing him doing his homework over there is nice to see. So he was watching all the video on the Diamondbacks yesterday. So it's just nice to see him back in his routine. He's I don't know, he's a big part of this team, and even without him, he was coaching up a lot of us. So it's really nice to see him back out there competing. And yeah, I can't wait to watch today.
Mike, just for those of us who joined late, what's the latest on what you're doing right now?
Oh, you joined late, so I got to repeat. Now, I only threw to 90 feet today, but it was just a normal kind of medium day. Tomorrow will be more of a heavier day. Throw back to 120. I only go back to 120 with maybe some throws off the mound, but just kind of that's like instead of doing a little flat ground, I don't like being on flat ground. It'll be off the mound, and then Thursday will be my first time like really fully touching the mound.
So it sounds like this is now developing into more of a real normal progression rather than more of like a touch and feel kind of thing, depending on what you're feeling.
Yeah, I'd say I'm now in week 2 of that. The last week was like the first week where we sat down and we wrote down a progression that we both agreed upon, thought was quick, but not too quick. And I keep pushing them to be a little bit quicker than that. So it's really just now a communication thing where I have to go out there and tell them exactly how I felt and make sure everything's going the proper direction.
I know Schilt needs to put a timeline than anything, so do you want to go ahead and do that for us instead?
Yeah, I'm on Schilt's side here. I mean, it's really just hard to put a timeline on it. I would love to say a specific date, but it's really just a communication thing. We mapped out this whole week, so that's where I know I'm throwing a bullpen on Thursday, and then we're going from there. So it's really just how I feel on Thursday. We can either speed things up, we have to slow things down. You never know what happens after Thursday.
When you see Darvish, the work he did to get back here, does that amp you up even more for your next step?
Oh, of course. I mean, I would love to follow in Darvish's footsteps in any way possible. But then and just having a guy like that back in our rotation, and obviously we're competing right now for a playoff spot, and it's a big upper for the team, So I think that his presence, I keep looking over at him over there, is going to be huge for not only the starting rotation but the lineup and coaching staff. You just have like a positive outlook going into those games.
I'm highly encouraged after that.
As am I.
Nothing about Sam there.
No, I mean, he's supposed to be at Big 12 Media Day. He got back into the clubhouse late. So, I mean,
he had to fly back out there because Arizona State's going today.
It's just, Sam has a lot of work on his plate right now. Got in a little late and
trying to lead Arizona State back to the college football playoff and host the pre and post game show
while trying to get drafted.
Exactly. While also trying to figure out what's going on with Michael King. So I showed up late. King's such a nice guy, dude. Like, you go down to the clubhouse, he'll give you that kind of jab like that, but it's like such a kidding way. Like, it doesn't bother him. I think that happened to Adam a couple weeks ago, or at the beginning of the season. I think Adam was around his bag, and I think he accidentally kicked the bag or something like that.
Oh.
And then he looks at Michael King, and Michael King was mean mugging him.
It's like, dude, really?
And he was like, "Nah, I'm just kidding. It's all right." It's pretty cool. How much did Sam get from NCAA 26? That's a good question.
We'll have to ask him.
We'll have to ask him.
Definitely have to ask him.
We did tell Jordan Spurgeon to ask Sam Levitt at Big 12 Media Days about hosting the pre and post game show against the Diamondbacks and playing TCU on September 26th in the same day.
I have seen the text. That is genuinely a thing that happened. Yes.
We will report back. If he does ask that and there's a clip of it, we will play it on the show.
Yes, 100%.
Our correspondent at the Big 12 Media Days, unofficially not paid for by us
anymore.
Yes. So I'd be curious. The difference is at least Jordan covers Arizona State, and so it's a little bit of familiarity there. If he was the beat writer for Kansas State or covered the Cyclones of Iowa State and was asking the Arizona State guy this, I'd be
that'd be one hell of a question.
I can ask you that, but I asked him I asked Jordan to ask Sam Levitt about what's it called?
Imagine the confused look on his face.
If he knows the Padres pre and post has the same name, and how he's going to host pre and post Padres Diamondbacks and then play TCU the same day on September 26th.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, Arizona State Sam Levitt spells his last name with an A, Leavitt.
I think Siri just sent Jordan a text saying, "Ask Sam Levitt." I don't know where. He's like, "I will when I see him again." Like we already talked about this. I was like, I don't remember sending this. Siri must have sent it. These phones are listening. The text literally just says, "Ask Sam Levitt."
There it is.
Unreal. All right. Well, so much of that for technology. The good news is Michael King's throwing a bullpen on Thursday.
Yes, that's
all you need to know out of that.
That's what we take out of the last 10 minutes is that Michael King throws a bullpen.
Go Aztecs. Go SD Aztecs. Might get him kicked out of media. No, he won't. Because Jordan knows how to ask it in a clever way that's going to make sense. And media days are fun. These are fun days. There's a lot of bloggers out there asking fun questions. Too bad San Diego State was in the Big 12. We'd go to Big 12 media days. That's the Star in Dallas. You got barbecue back there? Yeah, we could have. That could have been us, Frank. They accepted the Big 12 invite. We could have been at the Big 12 media days at the Star with Jerry Jones eating good barbecue.
Well, now it's better. We go to Pac-12 media day instead.
Yeah, when are those going to be next year?
Don't ask questions to make it more convoluted. Just say yes, we're going.
Nate Taylor, King competing for record of simulated games. Come on, man. You look great yesterday. No low blows. Did you see the Grand Canyon news?
I did see the Grand Canyon news.
We have a little bit of time before you can take a break here anyway.
It's flooded.
There's a river that goes through it?
There is.
Grand Canyon University is joining the Mountain West
school
this year.
My bad.
It's flooded? Is the Grand Canyon really flooded right now?
No, it's not.
I was going to say, is there a river that rolls through there? The entire state of Arizona would be underwater if the thing was flooded. Grand Canyon University was supposed to go to the Mountain West in 2026. They're now entering the Mountain West this season. They do not have footballs. They don't have to worry about anything. But the Aztecs are not going to have to do with Grand Canyon in basketball. and probably have to go to Phoenix for that game. That's a tough place to play. Last time the Aztecs were there, I think they lost. Aztecs basketball is already going to be good. Their schedule just got even more difficult with the addition of Grand Canyon for this season.
I believe we're going to have somebody from San Diego State on in about an hour or so from now.
We are, for football.
Yes, we do.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to talk to this individual. Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager. I'm fascinated by his job. I'm fascinated by the job.
But by the way, I saw a picture of him yesterday. He looks like he should be attending San Diego State, not running their entire football program.
He was a University of Cincinnati student assistant from August 17th to February 21st. August of 2017 to February 21. I graduated college in 17. In May of 17, which means he started college in the fall that year. So the fact that he looks like he should be in college, well, I don't know. He maybe graduated in February. He graduated in like 21, 20. I mean, student assistant at Cincinnati for that time. Went on to go be the recruiting associate at Notre Dame, Troy University general manager of player personnel for a couple of months, and then went back to Notre Dame as the director of recruiting, and now is the general manager of San Diego State football. That is going to be an interesting conversation I cannot wait for.
Yes, it will.
When we come back, yes, Go Aztecs is fired up about Aztec football talk. We'll get you ready for Aztec football. Catch the fever.
We're going to do a lot with Aztec football this year. At least we want to.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the pitching staff, bullpen. So a lot of people complaining about Yuki Matsui and Wandy Peralta. Our question for you is, who do you want them to pitch? We'll answer that and tell you how to get the craft taco at Balboa Park, because apparently it's difficult. It's not. You'll find out when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. 12:21, lunchtime hour on 97 through the Fan. A little Treaty Oak revival for you. For other people listening on their cars or on the Odyssey app. YouTube people don't get our fun rejoin beds. I had a comment on the rejoins on the rejoiner music, the bumper music from one of the guys that played softball with us last night.
There you go.
It's like, who does the music? And I'm like, well, I kind of pick the stuff I like.
Yeah, me, bro.
He was like, oh, there's a lot of deep cuts out there. I'm like, hey, I don't have anything close to the knowledge that Woods has when it comes to music or the appreciation like he does. He's big into music, but
Yes.
I'm playing stuff I like. That's some new stuff I like from Treaty Oak Revival. I want to see them, but they don't cut. They've come to California twice, and it was once in LA before they played Stagecoach, and then out. They're from Odessa. They actually, my brother picked them up when he was in Tennessee. They actually were at like a small bar there one night, and they didn't go because they didn't know who they were. And then my brother started listening to them, and there's a lot of good songs. We have a lot of their stuff that plays. But then, like, who used them a lot was Landman, the TV series.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're based in, Odessa, Midland, so might as well play some music from a band that is from Odessa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't know that was a thing. Have you ever been to Odessa or Midland?
No. I have not.
I will not be a travel agent for you on that. I don't go.
If you ever have
I've been through it multiple times. It's not the greatest.
If you ever have the opportunity to go, pass on that.
Unless you love the smell of oil and dirt, no reason to go.
No,
or actually, you know what? As a big high school football fan that I am, growing up in San Diego, playing high school football, my dad coaching high school football forever. When the first time we went out to TCU, I had one of my truck out there, so we drove out there. We actually did stop and stay in Odessa because what's the famous high school from Odessa?
One I've never been to.
Friday Night Lights.
Oh,
Permian
yes.
High School is in Odessa.
Mm-hmm.
Mojo. So we went and checked out their facilities and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Like, the stadium was insane. So it was cool to check out their stadium. We drove by their practice.
Easy to find.
You can't miss it. It's gigantic. It's huge, like in the middle of nowhere. And Permian hasn't been good since the 90s. I mean, I'm sure they've put together some decent years, but they're just not a big school anymore. So we went there. We went to Midland Lee. It was their rival. Again, part of the book, part of the movie. Not the TV series that NBC did that's, Dillon, which is not even a real place in Texas. But it was cool to check that out. That was basically it. That was really it. They had that, and they have a bunch of chain restaurants, and that was it in Odessa. And then the Midland was nice. And so, like in Landman, the Odessa, Midland's, it's a nicer area, but it's all in the same deal. It's all oil, all related to oil. But long story short, they've been using they use a lot of Treaty Oak Revival in their show. They're renewing the show. And I learned about this in January. You want to know why I learned about this in January?
Why did you learn about this in January?
Because they sent out, in the first season, John Hamm, who was in the first season of Landman, he owns the oil. His his daughter runs track at TCU. So like there's a bunch of TCU scenes and stuff like that. In January, I still get emails bounced to me from my TCU email address as a student. Apparently get to keep it. I didn't know you got to keep it. So I had everything forward. Yeah. So I'm still getting some of those emails that get bounced to me. I got an email in January before they announced the new season that they were looking for extras.
Oh, there you go.
TCU students extras for Landman season 2. So who knows how many scenes will be in Fort Worth, around Fort Worth, or in TCU. So I was like, oh, 6. So they're renewing the show. I liked it. I thought it was a good show.
I'll have to check it out then.
Billy Bob Thornton's in it.
Okay.
John Hamm.
Yep.
It's pretty good. Like they have like the serious timeline, but they have all these comedic relief things with like in the show, Billy Bob Thornton's daughter and his wife. It's like they have like their own little side thing. It's pretty cool. I should be in. You know what? I thought about maybe I just fly out to Texas to be an extra in Landman 2 for a couple of days and fly home. That'd be interesting to see.
Be one hell of a show promo.
That's right. The extra from Landman, Braden Surprenant. Sure, that would go over well. All right, we have a couple of minutes here, just enough time. We either break at 28 or we break at 32 to be on our clock. So we're going to go to 32. And we have to... the Natural History Museum has Craft Taco.
Yes, so I've heard.
Frank went to the Natural History Museum.
I did.
Did not find Craft Taco, but here's
I did not.
You know what? We tried to piece it together. I tried to give Frank the benefit of the doubt because it's just inside the north entrance, which is not the common entrance of the Natural History Museum at Balboa Park. The south entrance is more popular. It's on the main drag, El Prado, by the fountain, yada, 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 yada. And then I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and it actually ended up being worse. He ended up going through the north entrance. And then I said, well, did you notice the tree? Did you go by I tried to figure out the entrance that he went in, either the one with the gigantic tree that you can't miss or the gigantic fountain that you also cannot miss.
I didn't realize it was a tree. I thought it was a bush, honestly.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Here's So Craft Taco, Eddie from Craft Taco was kind enough to show us and to tell people how to see and get Craft Taco at the Natural History Museum.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want Frank scaring everybody off, thinking it was impossible to find.
Yeah, no, again, you also have to take into account that I'm a moron. So that's that kind of, you got a grain of salt on that if I can't find something.
Where the Chiefs play.
Exactly.
All right. Here's the gigantic tree that Frank said was a bush. Outside the Natural History Museum. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it.
That is the entrance that I went through.
That is the north entrance where you go down the stairs on the north side of the building by the what, Frank?
I didn't even see the Craft Taco decal on the window.
The gigantic tree. And then you walk down the steps. And what does the door say? It says the Craft Taco.
It does.
On the door. In which Frank walked through. It said the Craft Taco on the door.
I didn't see it.
I'm telling you, when you said you didn't go because you couldn't find it, I was like, there's no way. I always said, this better be the hardest place to possibly find.
I was too busy looking at the big
bush that's actually a tree.
No, the aminal on the thing there.
Was it a meerkat or something?
Yeah, I think so. I was too busy looking at that. Am I going to look at the giant meerkat that takes up 7 or 8 windows, or am I going to look at the little tiny Craft Taco sign that's like off to the side?
You knew going in that the Craft Taco was
there. Right. I knew going in there was. I knew it was there. I didn't need to see a sign that said it was there. I knew it was there.
Now let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say, okay, get inside.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit different inside.
Right.
Could be on the side, could be behind a place that you can't go to because you got to buy a ticket, which, by the way, you don't have to.
Now, here's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting like a little cutout, like a shop, like a tiny little thing. Like I'm not expecting so there's the gift. So when I walk in, I see the reception desk in the middle. I've got the gift shop on the left. Sorry, I know my right from my left. I swear. I see the theater on the left past the gift shop, and I see a little coffee stand. So that's what I see when I walk in.
Okay. Let's see what Eddie sees walking in. This is okay. So we went to the door, and there's the receptionist, and then, oh, look, it's right there. It's right behind the place to buy the tickets. It's got a little sign.
Oh, I'm just stupid.
There's the door, and then there's the Craft Taco.
See,
it's right there. As soon as you walk in, it's right there.
In my defense, that is a white sign on a white wall.
Oh, you know what? I'll give you the benefit. Here's a couple of things. One, you're focused on the meerkat and the natural history. Fine, fair enough.
See,
Guy obviously was not hungry walking in.
I just saw I can't get hungry for a couple more months.
True. But it's right there.
Yeah, but I saw that, and I saw what was there. Like I saw drinks, I saw little pastries and stuff like that. So I didn't think that they would be selling tacos there.
Would you think it was like a cafe? Hey,
yeah, I thought it was just like a little coffee counter.
Eddie said they got an espresso machine.
They
Since
did.
they're in the Natural History Museum, you can have a little espresso with your taco.
You could see it there.
Yeah.
In the video.
See, that lady right there is buying a great taco.
I see.
We just wouldn't know. You wouldn't know because you didn't. I looked everywhere for it, he says.
Like I said, I'm just stupid. That's all it is. It's just.
I think we have to bring Kraft Taco to you.
I think we do.
I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Because clearly I can't find it when it's
the navigating
right
is not great. By the way, if you thought that was difficult, oh my God. Their other place, I have driven into the wrong part like 3 times.
Okay.
It's easy to find. It's right there on the maps. But the parking lots in the industrial area don't connect. And so you're like, and then people are driving fast on your ass, and you're like, I gotta get out of that. Gotta go back out the street. Back in.
So yeah, I'm just stupid. That's all it is. I'm dumb. I couldn't see the sign on the window. I couldn't see the white sign on the white wall. I'm just dumb. That's all there is to it.
You know what?
I apologize to the Kraft Taco for not finding your wonderful establishment in the Natural History Museum. And I think we are missing something, though.
He draws the foul.
Jax, maybe sit the next couple plays out, dude.
I think I might. I think I just might.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We need somebody to call in and take me down in sports trivia to give yourself an opportunity to qualify for a chance to win our grand prize at 2 nights stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas gift card. Was it like one Phillip? Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through the October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Call in. Try to take me down sports trivia. In the 1 o'clock hour, we're giving away tickets to the Padres Diamondbacks game for tomorrow. Sports trivia when we come back, and a look at the bullpen. A lot of people are upset with Matsui and Wandy Peralta. My question to you is, who else pitches? We'll try to answer that together when we come back in the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 1240 on 97 through the Fan, Braden Surprenant Show. Taking it up to 2 o'clock. We're Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, and Matt Scraby. I think it's just Tony and Scraby. Isn't Ello on vacation?
I think it is because Ello wasn't here yesterday.
No, he wasn't. I think he's on vacation. Anyway.
Moving on.
So it'll be Scraby and Tony coming up at 2 o'clock.
Means an extended Scraby show for part of that because Tony will be working the press conferences and stuff.
That is true. Into the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with the starting quarterback of Arizona State. I mean, Sam Levitt. Which I guess is the same thing. So, anyway, Padres baseball, Padres and Diamondbacks coming up today at 6:40. That's the rest of the week, by the way, right? There's no earlier.
No, there
time.
there is no early game. It's all 6:40.
All 6:40 the entire week for the Phillies come to town. Tonight, it's Merrill Kelly and Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta, 9-2 with a 3.25 ERA. Padres trying to even up the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. As we mentioned before, 6:40 start. Merrill Kelly's been their best in the starting rotation, 7-4 with a 3.55 ERA. Coming up at 1:15, Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager, will join the show. Talk a little bit about Aztecs football, and they're getting ready to get underway very shortly. They've got a good recruiting season over the last couple of weeks during the summertime window. We won't get into the specifics of some of the guys that they have signed because it doesn't become official until they fill out their national letter of intent on National Signing Day. But I do want to ask a little bit about just his job. I mean, it's a very popular job right now in college athletics and in college football. Being a general manager for a college football team. San Diego State's got a brand new football stadium, moving to the Pac-12 next year. Be interesting to see. They need a bounce back season after the last couple of years that they've had. They got the new stadium now. They got I think a good leader and head coach in place in Sean Lewis, and try to get some juice back for San Diego State football. It was popular in the 90s. I mean, Marshall Faulk was there. It's good. It hasn't always been this forgotten about thing. But to try to win over the community and get people to go to games, it's a difficult thing to do in San Diego. We talk about that a lot. And we'll hear what Caleb Davis has to say about some of the stuff and some of the challenges in this day and age of college athletics. I'm looking forward to that conversation. Okay, we don't have too much time right now because I do want to get to the midday sports standoff. But we talked a little bit about the bullpen last night. I thought Darvish, it's a good time, I think, to reiterate the Darvish conversation. I thought Darvish was good last night. I thought Darvish was great, actually. It might not get great. It's probably in between. What did Mike Schilt think about Darvish's return? Here's what Mike Schilt had to say about Darvish's outing last night. It was good to see him back on the mound. It was good to see him look the way that he did. A couple of things didn't go their way, but like to see it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It is time to get to our midday sports standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, who's playing today?
All right, today we have Ron in Santee. Ron, how you doing today, bud?
Doing good.
All right, so today's topic, there are 5 possible answers to this trivia question. Only speaking of Division I college football, there are 5 college teams with the mascot of Tiger. Name all 5. So we're going to go one at a time.
We're talking FBS teams.
Yes. So, like as you mentioned before, Princeton will not count in this.
They're an FCS school in the Ivy League.
So, Ron, you have the first guess.
Clemson.
Clemson is correct. Braden.
I'm going to go with the Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou is correct. And Ron, we know Braden doesn't miss these, so you have to be perfect
the college
here.
athletic ones.
Okay, I got the next one, I think. LSU.
LSU, correct.
The LSU Bayou Bengals, also Tigers. I'm going to go with the Auburn Tigers.
Auburn. Ron, if you get this one, you win.
You know, I have no idea. Let's guess. I don't know. Arkansas. Oh, let's Razorbacks.
Woo pig.
No, I have
No, Razorbacks.
Are we down to the last one already?
Yep, we are down to the last one already.
I was saving this one for the end. That'd be the Memphis Tigers.
Yes, it would be, Ron. I am sorry, but again, Braden doesn't miss these. It's scary how good you are with these college ones.
You think I'm good. I'm like the worst in my friend group.
Really?
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to give my buddy Mike some credit.
Uh-oh.
That guy, he could name all the teams in the FCS and not just the FCS. He could name all the college mascots in college basketball, like the 300 and whatever teams there are.
Bloody Nora.
Like Georgia Southern, he'd just be like, whatever they are, I think they're the Eagles or something. I could do most of them. I get in a little bit of, there's a little gray area on like the MAC. What's Bowling Green? The Falcons? I think I call them the Eagles. But like Bowling Green's like one of those teams. They're the Falcons.
Weird.
They're the Falcons. Bowling Green's the Falcons. Like MAC teams, Conference USA teams, like especially the new ones. Obviously I know about Delaware's a new team in the FBS.
Yes.
They're the Blue Hens.
Yes.
I knew that one. Like what's Missouri State? I think they just got added. Was it Missouri State or Missouri Southern?
I just
Missouri
saw
State.
it too.
I have no idea what Missouri State's mascot is. I had to look it up. They're the Bears.
That's what.
Apparently, they're the Bears.
The Bears.
New Mountain West team, Grand Canyon. What are they called? This is their little hand signal.
The platypi. I don't know.
They're the Lopes.
Oh, yeah. So I was close.
Lopes. I think my friend can also name like the mascot's name. So not just the mascot, like Auburn Tiger. He knows Obby the Tiger in college athletics. You know, I think what stems from that. I think it's college football, the video game.
Yeah,
growing up. I think that's where it comes from. I know all these fight songs from playing college football 2004, 3, whatever the one had Carson Palmer on it. In between, they'd play all the fight songs. I don't know what teams they go with.
I don't know why they didn't do that last year for the college football video game.
Did they bring that back for this one?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I still have to.
We didn't pay
I
for
have
it yet.
2 more days. So the quality of Friday show is going to.
Are we even going to be here on Friday? We could just simulcast our college football 26 dynasty.
Oops. Like I know from playing with my friends, we did like a rebuild small school dynasty last year. I took Buffalo, the Bulls. So
Okay.
I learned the Bulls mascot's name, Victor E. Bull.
That one's good.
I thought so.
I forgot the school, but there's like a mascot. I forgot what school it is. It's like up in Oregon or something like that. And the mascot's name is Scott E. Pippen. I'm not joking. It's Scott E. Pippen. Like Butch T. Cougar for Washington State. Should that be our trivia question to win Padres tickets?
Who's the
Name some random mascot?
No, it's got to be it's got to be the Wildcats are in Phoenix, no? Or in the Phoenix area? Or is it Sun Devils?
I'm gonna let you ask that again. Did you think the Arizona Wildcats? They're in Tucson.
Oh, okay. So then
it would be the Scum Devils. I mean Sun Devils.
So if you can
All right.
name the Sun Devil mascot, like the actual legitimate name of the Sun Devils mascot.
That's easy. We have so many Arizona State alumni that listen to the show.
Okay, then
All right.
one of them is most likely going to the game tomorrow. I don't know what else to tell you.
Since they're playing Arizona, since we're playing the Diamondbacks. How about this? Maybe here's the deal. How about this? Let's make it a little bit more challenging.
Okay.
If you call in, since they're playing the Arizona Diamondbacks and not the Phoenix Diamondbacks, let's talk about the entire state. If you can name the 3 major universities in Arizona mascots, you will win tickets to the Padres game tomorrow.
Like the name of the mascot or the school gimmick?
The name of the mascot.
So it wouldn't be like the Aztecs. It would have to be the name of the mascot.
Correct.
Okay.
So Northern Arizona is the Lumberjacks. I need the Lumberjacks name.
Okay.
The Sun Devils name. And the Wildcats name.
Gotcha.
Now there's 2 Wildcat mascots. There's a male version and a female. Get either of them? I don't really care. Those are the 3 mascots of the 3 major universities in Arizona. I'm not accounting Grand Canyon. Forget the Lopes.
And if you get nothing, if you get both of those, if you get both the male and female Wildcats,
and pat on the back?
And if you are one of the first 40,000 people in the door,
you get it.
We'll even give you a City Connect straw hat.
How about that? 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you could do those, if you can name those 3 things, the 3 mascots of the Arizona schools, you will win 2 tickets to Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow. First 40,000 fans will receive a free Padres City Connect straw hat. Get tickets at padres.com/tickets.
Go Aztecs in the chat. No one is winning these tickets.
I bet you somebody does. I think the Arizona State one's not hard. And neither is Arizona. The one that might be difficult is the name of the Lumberjack. There has to be an NAU grad somewhere in town that knows what the Lumberjack's name is.
Oh, God. And the phone lines are lighting up, too.
They're lighting up. If you use the Google machine, that's on you. I hope you feel about that. I hope that bothers you.
All right, you guys are all on hold.
Okay.
Do not get off of hold. You're all on hold. We still have a minute to go before break. I'll get to you during the break.
I love that. That's great. Okay. So, this next hour coming up, we're going to talk about tonight's game, Diamondbacks Padres. We're going to talk about the bullpen. And I've been teasing this long enough, but we're going to talk about it at 1 o'clock after we give away the tickets. And you phrased it well. Again, we ask, who do you want to pitch? Padres bullpen last night, 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. I even had our guy Prolific tweet at me about Wandy Peralta. Look, I'm not a Wandy Peralta fan. All I said in the first half, based on his stats, he had a pretty solid performance. Do I trust him in high leverage? No, I don't. Not particularly. But a lot of people complain. Obviously, Yuki Matsui gave him some runs. Wandy Peralta gave him some runs. Padres bullpen's one of the best. A lot of your guys in the bullpen have been used the most out of bullpen arms in Major League Baseball. So again, we asked the question, who do you want to pitch? We knew this going in, did we not, Frank? I mean, we knew that they had a bullpen day the day before, and then Darvish was going. The next day, limited numbers, limited pitches. We'll talk about that. Who do you want to pitch? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. When we come back, San Antonio Sports Station, 97 to the Fan. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on a Tuesday. Talking Padres baseball with you. An hour, dove into some fun lunchtime stuff. Today's trivia question. Who won today?
A very, very, very excited Kelly in San Diego.
Kelly was stoked.
Yeah, she was. We love
She
giving
got
away.
She got all 4.
Yes, she did.
Didn't need to get all 4.
So now she's eligible. If she's one of the first 40,000 people there, she can get the straw hat.
Nice. Our trivia question, since we were on the mascot thing for a second, was can you name me the names of the mascots of the 3 major universities, the 3 state schools, we'll just say, in Arizona, since the Padres are playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we kind of roped it all together. NAU, Arizona, and Arizona State. Arizona had 2 mascots. They have Wilbur and Wilma the Wildcat.
Only had to get one.
You only needed one of those.
She got both.
She got both of them. Arizona State's mascot is Sparky. I like when they use Sparky on the side of the helmet. It's a good look. And then NAU is Louie the Lumberjack, is the mascot for NAU. She was on it.
And very, very, very excited. We love giving away things to people who are excited to win them.
Rod said one of his buddies who went to Arizona.
I see that now, yeah.
Named their kids Wilbur and Wilma. That's awesome. I love Wilbur and Wilma. I grew up an Arizona Wildcat fan when I went to U of A.
Mm-hmm.
Love Wilbur. Wilbur's great.
Well, there you go.
He's got his little hat. He's bald, but he's got the hair. He's got the friar hair.
Mm-hmm.
Takes his hat off. Wilbur's great. Louie the Lumberjack. That's a heck of a mascot name. What does he look like?
I do not know.
Louie the Lumberjack. Let me see if I can find a picture for you guys on YouTube.
In Googling things on radio, this is fantastic.
He looks like a lumberjack would look. Pretty typical. He's got a little axe. Oh, wow. So he's got a beanie because it's northern Arizona. It gets cold up there. He's in the mountains.
Northern Arizona can afford props. That's cool.
Yeah. He's got an axe in his hand. He's got suspenders holding up his jeans. He's got a button-down yellow shirt. He's got a full beard. And he's got a blue beanie on top.
Like, what's his name from Toy Story? I forget what his name was.
No, the miner guy?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that guy's name? He was like the bad guy, wasn't he?
Yes,
no,
he was.
The second one. What is that guy? Stinky Pete or something
yeah,
like that?
Stinky Pete. Yep, that was what it was.
Stinky Pete. When you go back and watch some of those movies, like as an adult, they get so funny.
Oh, yeah, they're hilarious.
They're so funny. I just say we ring the doorbell and say we're delivering a pizza. How about a ham sandwich, fries, and a hot dog? What can I be? Maybe the toilet comes with the meal. Rex will be a part of the deal. All right. Enough quoting Toy Story 2. I can't believe we got to drive all the way to work on a Saturday.
Across the street.
Goes across the street.
I think that's Chris Ello on a daily basis, honestly.
That is Chris Ello on a daily basis. I'm going to tell you that right now. Chris Ello is, what is that character's name? I don't know, but Newman from Seinfeld plays him.
Yes.
That's Chris going to work every day. He can walk to work. Yet he drives. Get the steps in, man. All right. Let's talk about the Padres bullpen. People were upset about this. I don't know why. I mean, I get why Padres lost. It would have been better if Wandy Peralta could throw up a 0. You need guys that can close the door, slam the door in the bullpen. There's something about that. It's important. Even when games are out of hand, even when games are in a position where you're losing, you need guys to put up 0s in the bullpen to give your offense an opportunity. I think the bullpen has done a fairly good job of doing that all season long. But let's go back to who was available last night in terms of who had pitched before and how many pitches they threw and all that stuff. And understand like what Mike Schild had to work with yesterday. Again, people are upset about Wandy Peralta and Yuki Matsui pitching yesterday. But here's the situation. Okay? Going into last night's game, I even said that, did I not say this before we left the show yesterday? I didn't say it on air, but I told you, I'm like, hey, look, you're looking forward to seeing these 4 pitchers who did not pitch on Sunday night. Matsui, Hoeing, Peralta, and Nunez. Those are the 4 pitchers that hadn't thrown on Sunday night. Suarez through Sunday night, Adam through Sunday night, Estrada through Sunday night, Morejon through Sunday night, and of course Morgan was the starter as an opener in Sunday night's game against the Texas Rangers. The guys, like I mentioned, who didn't throw were Matsui, an inning and a half through last night, Hoeing, an inning and a half through last night, Wandy inning and a third, inning and a third, and then Nunez, inning and a third. The four guys we said. Sometimes they get the job done, sometimes they don't. There's not like an abundance of bullpen arms out there that are always just going to throw up zeros. And the other thing, too, is, yes, I understand some of these guys threw the night before, and you know what? Suarez, Adam, Estrada, Morejon, and Morgan all didn't throw on Saturday. You could have had them go back-to-back days, right? But you're already running into an issue where Adam and Estrada and Morejon are three of the most used bullpen arms in all of Major League Baseball. You got to kind of protect them. Mike Schilt didn't build the bullpen, and the bullpen that they have built is good. I'm not saying that this is a poorly constructed bullpen. But what I am saying is these guys have to pitch. Like, every time I watch a game with anybody, I get why you feel this way. I get why you feel this way. But honestly, I feel like it's kind of a tired act hearing every time that we see, and this happens every time, no matter where I'm watching the game, who I'm watching it with, I'll hear this at least one comment. Matsui is in. Looks like we've given up on the game. Peralta's in. Looks like we've given up on the game. I mean, these guys have to pitch. They have to pitch. You can't use the same four guys every single night. They have to pitch. Now, last night wasn't great. Peralta, in that particular situation, he's got to be able to put up a zero. He's not one of the better bullpen arms in Major League Baseball. Padres got a lot of good depth in the bullpen in the minor leagues. But Matsui and Peralta are under contract for a very long time. Just to check, Peralta is getting $4.25 million every year for the next 3 years. This year, next year, and the year after that. He's a free agent in 2028. Wandy's going to be 34 years old before the conclusion of this season. He's got an opt-out after every year. He's not opting out of any of those deals. So, he is what he is. Again, bullpen arms they're a dime a dozen. I guess you can try to find somebody else. You've invested a lot of money in this guy to be a bullpen arm. Yuki Matsui, same thing. Under contract this year, next year, and the year after. And he's got a player option in 2028 worth $7 million. He can't opt out after 2026. Player option converts to a club option with an elbow injury. The only thing that gets you out of the situation of potentially using Yuki Matsui, or potentially no longer having to use Yuki Matsui or Wandy Peralta, is if you convince the team to take him. And the money. Honestly, I think with the way that teams need bullpen arms, maybe AJ Preller can swing a deal to part ways with Wandy Peralta or Yuki Matsui. Get a Brandon Lockridge back. I mean, he did it with Daniel De Los Santos. I mean, the Yankees wanted Daniel De Los Santos last year. Now, with Enel, he was not making a lot of money, so it's a lot easier to pick him up and to just cut him loose if it doesn't work out. You can't necessarily do that with Peralta. Yankees already know about Peralta. They had him before. Yuki Matsui, maybe. But, again, they're bullpen arms. Like, bullpen arms they're going to have higher ERAs. A lot of the stats are inflated because one bad outing is going to boost everything because they don't pitch all the time. And they only go for about an inning, maybe an inning and a third. You know, Mike Schilt has these guys, pitch an inning and a third more times than not. But again, like, it's not always the case. It's not always the case. There's not going to be 100% lights out guys in every bullpen. I mean, I Dodgers fans a couple years ago wanted to ship off Alex Vesia, the kid from Steel Canyon. They said he was terrible. Alex Vestia turned into one of their better bullpen arms. I mean, now he's younger. It's a little bit different of a conversation. But at the same time, you can't ship off everybody that just, that has a bad outing or has multiple bad outings. It's going to be like that throughout the Major League Baseball season. I still think the Padres should add an arm. They even said that they were going to do that. We talked about that yesterday on the show about what the plan is, what the kind of the game plan is for navigating the trade market. Padres have a lot of bullpen arms that are young and that teams like. And according to the report by Kevin Acee, it sounded like the Padres were not willing to take away from their asset, but instead add the asset. So hopefully they add to their asset, which is their bullpen. Their bullpen's been great. You can't ask these guys to do it it's to ask them to do it every single night. I know that's what you want to see happen, but it's never going to happen. You're going to have bad nights. I mean, even the best teams play poorly. Dodgers have gotten their ass handed to them the last 4 days. 3 times against Houston, and last night was rough. Yamamoto got shelled last night by the Milwaukee Brewers. It happens. Got to do with what you got. Deal with what you got. And you signed Matsui for a decent amount of money. You signed Wandy Peralta for a decent amount of money. Unfortunately, right now it's not really working out with the contract. It's also not a significant amount of money, but for a bullpen arm, it is a lot. But again, just because Matsui and Peralta come in doesn't mean they've given up on the game. They can't pitch some of these guys every single night. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to look back at Manny Machado's historic night from yesterday. We talked a lot about it in the first hour. If you missed any of it, we're going to get to some of the other stuff as Machado joined the 2000 hit club, what it means for him to be a part of that. Plus, we're going to get to Caleb Davis of San Diego State football, who's the general manager calling in. We're going to break down San Diego State football with him when we return on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 118 on a Tuesday. Getting ready for Padres baseball. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby take over for me at 2 o'clock as they lead you into the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. Padres Diamondbacks coming your way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show alongside Frank Marchese. And right now we're going to take a slight break from Padres baseball to talk a little Aztec football. San Diego State Aztecs football will probably get underway with practices, fall camp, relatively soon. And joining us now, who is a student assistant at the University of Cincinnati, went on to be the Notre Dame football recruiting associate, went and worked for Troy as a general manager of player personnel, and then went back to Notre Dame to become the director of recruiting, has accomplished a lot of great things at a very young age. He is now the San Diego State football general manager. His name is Caleb Davis. He joins me on the Braden Surprenant Show. Caleb, what's going on, man?
How we doing? First off, thank you for having me, man. Excited to be, a part of your show, a part of everything. I'm excited to be out in San Diego.
Well, it's great to have you on. I find your job to be fascinating. So as a high school football coach in town that I am, big college football fan, I worked in college football when I was in college as a student assistant at TCU. You've got to live a fun dream of working in college athletics and working in college football. How did you get into this as a student assistant? How did you get into working in football before we talk about what your new job is and a job that not a lot of people really know about that's very popular now in college athletics?
Shoot. I'd say, was blessed to be around a lot of great people through my journey. And that's really kind of helped kickstart my career because, I played high school football, but I played D-line. I'm less than 6 foot tall, so I was never playing in college anywhere, but knew immediately, I wanted to work in football and be in a position where I can impact kids' lives. So started out where, everyone's got some funny story how they got started. I think my grandma knew a basketball donor at Cincinnati that reached out to the head coach on my behalf. And then somehow, some way, a few months later, I was helping out with D-line indie drills, setting up drills, moving pads around. And then 4 years later, I was essentially a GA working both coaching and recruiting. And then was able to do a good job to where Marcus Freeman thought I'd be a good asset to bring up to Notre Dame with them. So that's a quick little look into how I kind of jumped up. And then really it all just starts with being around great people.
Accomplished a lot of things at a very young age, only 25 years old, one of the better minds of college football. Obviously, you got a bright future in front of you, but as Aztec fans are getting excited for, obviously your impact at San Diego State. What drew you to this particular job and working with Sean Lewis in Aztec football?
Number one is Coach Sean Lewis and his vision. I mean, throughout the whole interview process, I asked probably 15 different people within the industry, like what do you think about Coach Lewis? And I've always been an Ohio guy, respected him from the outside looking in, just, everything he accomplished at Kent State as the head coach. And then, as I stacked up everything of who he is as a human being first, what he values, what his morals are, and then how he leads this program, it was really a no-brainer because, we've got someone really, really special leading the charge here. And then from there, really, as everything aligned, it was, okay, I align with the head coach. He is a phenomenal human being, phenomenal leader. But then to be able to help lead a program that's going into the Pac-12, that's got all this great history, tradition, recruiting success, local talent base, like there was so much here to where it was really a no-brainer when I really looked at all the pros and cons about this job.
We're talking with San Diego State football general manager Caleb Davis on the Braden Surprenant Show. Let's talk about the job of being a general manager. I mean, when most people, especially in this town, in San Diego, we're at the Padres. Everybody knows A.J. Preller is the general manager of the San Diego Padres. He's doing a lot of different stuff, wheeling and dealing and getting talent and all that sort of thing at the professional level. Now with NIL and college athletics, a lot of schools are creating these general manager jobs throughout the country, and each one might be a little bit different. But specifically for you, Caleb, what do you do on a day-to-day? How can you explain what your job is for a lot of people that like college football but might not know what a general manager does at the college level?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously at the college level, we can't make, trades like you can in the NFL or in the MLB, but a lot of it is really interacting with so many different types of people and ensuring that the vision of San Diego State football is accomplished every single day. And it's kind of setting that vision of, our goal is to be a perennial Pac-12 championship team and, compete for the playoffs. So whether that's working with, recruiting high school kids or working with kids in our current roster and whether it's their agents, during the transfer portal chaos, or if it's just aligning myself with the different coaches on our staff and just the boosters, the alumni, it's really setting that vision and interacting with so many different types of people on a day-to-day to make sure that vision is being reached every single day.
Caleb, there's a couple when I watched Sean Lewis in his first year, now, they sold Aztec fast. It wasn't probably as fast that he would like it to be. And for me, as an outsider looking in, again, in the high school football world here in San Diego, follow college football religiously, it looked like in this day and age of college athletics, Sean had to be a head football coach, run the offense, and do a lot of business stuff that you just mentioned you had to do. How much is your job taking a lot of stuff off of Sean Lewis's plate so he can focus on coaching and getting the team ready to go each and every Saturday?
I'll be honest, I don't know how many times I've said it since I got here, but it blows my mind all the things that was on his plate the 6 months before I got here. Because you got to think, towards the end of the season, obviously the end of last year wasn't up to, Aztec standards, what we want to be. But at the same time, you're setting the standard and the stage for the next season and trying to retain all the guys. So, I look back and I'm like shocked about how much was just on his plate alone with managing that roster, managing those relationships, and not having a GM to be able to take some of those things off. So, it's huge because, yes, it lets him be a head football coach and set the standards and coach football, because once we get in the season, he's our play caller as well. He's breaking down opponents. Like, we've got to make sure his job is as capable as possible. That way, he's not panicking about 60 different things when he should be focusing on winning games this fall.
We're talking with San Diego State football general manager Caleb Davis, getting ready for the Aztec football season, starting up probably in a couple of weeks for you guys to start practicing in the fall before your first opponent of Stony Brook. I do want to, talk a little bit more about, where you're at in terms of, just like recruiting in general. Obviously you can't name names of players and everything like that, but the overall philosophy, because a lot of people in San Diego, they see a lot of big names that San Diego has produced that have gone on to other schools. In this day and age, obviously, it's very difficult to get the top echelon names. We've had a lot of people in our YouTube chat that are watching this show ask about, what the program's philosophy is on trying to keep as many San Diego kids at San Diego State as possible. What have you guys done to try to actively try to get players that are San Diegan players in this good market of high school football to become Aztecs on Saturdays?
Well, it starts with retaining our current guys that are local, to be able to hang on to Trey White, who was for the majority of the season leading the nation in sacks, and starting linebacker Tano Latuli, cornerback Chris Johnson, and even a guy that probably doesn't get talked about enough, but Eric Butler up from the Inland Empire. Like, these are all local kids that, was so important to us to keep on our roster, because then the next Trey White, the next Eric Butler, the next Chris Johnson can kind of see what's going on here and be like, yes, I want to be like him. Because at the end of the day, we'll get a lot of really, really good football players out of the portal, but the best of the best, almost always, you look around college football, they come from the high school ranks that you bring in. And for us to be able to retain our best players, we're one of 6 schools in the country to retain all 7 of our underclassmen, all conference players, without losing a single one of the portal. And it's something I take a lot of pride in, because it means the kids want to be here. So then, like I said, the next Trey White is seeing what's going on. He comes on our official visits and hangs out with these guys, and and it just opens their eyes to what San Diego State can do for these kids.
Last thing for you, Caleb, and I appreciate the time and getting excited for Aztec football here coming up in the fall. You do a lot of recruiting. You talk to a lot of, families and everything like that. The way everything stacks up, and San Diego State, obviously, you guys got different deck of cards than a lot of schools in the Power 5 or the Power 4, even schools in your own conference. How do you compete? How does San Diego State stack up in terms of NIL? What are you telling families? What's the selling point to try to get kids to come here and play at San Diego State?
Absolutely. It always starts with the total opportunity here, which, yes, NIL is a new age of college football that we have a great plan for, that we're always continuing to build. It doesn't matter if you're at Notre Dame, USC, Oregon, or San Diego State, you always want more. So you kind of have a plan for what you have, continue to work for more, and then attack it diligently every single day. So NIL is never our first conversation starter, because, again, I believe what you pitch is you get what those kids value. If you pitch NIL, we're only going to get kids that value NIL. If we pitch, look, you get a great education here, you get a phenomenal football history and tradition, and you get to live in one of the greatest cities in the entire world, not just country, then you get kids that value everything that San Diego State is. So it starts with that, and then you kind of make the numbers behind the scenes. You make that right, because 9 times out of 10, we're not going to be anyone's highest offer, because everyone's market value is always higher elsewhere. But if you can identify the right kids, the ones that want to be here, the ones that want to be an Aztec, then all of that stuff ends up taking care of itself.
I said last thing, I lied. I got one more question for you.
Absolutely.
You got a brand new stadium down there in Mission Valley. Obviously, tried to sell the Aztec Fast last year, trying to compete in this market with San Diego Padres doing really well. A little bit of a crossover. San Diego FC is doing well. But on top of that, you mentioned the great city that it is. There's a lot of stuff you could do on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday evening. What is the one thing you want Aztec fans to know, or people that are on the fence about going to watch Aztec football? What's the one selling point for the local community to back you guys in the fall and show up every Saturday night?
I absolutely promise that this city is going to be proud of the product on the field. It's the players and the talent and the staff that we have is a huge reason why I left a great position at Notre Dame to come out to San Diego State. But the product is going to be there. We need the entire city's support to help achieve past what our God-given potential is, because this is a super, super special team. It's super special kids that, again, I've hit on a couple of them, but they wanted to be here. They wanted to rebuild the Aztec culture, and it's going to be something that I promise the fan base is going to be proud of this year. I'm excited, because I've been sitting here the last couple of months after the portal closed, like, okay, we've got our guys, we got everything rolling. Like, let's just get to freaking August 28th against Stony Brook, because I can't wait to show the city what we've got for them.
Caleb, I appreciate the time, man. Make sure you keep my Cathedral Catholic Dons that are now Aztecs in line, Tana Latuli and Lucky Sutton, Sidney Dupuy.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to seeing you on one of these football fields soon.
Absolutely. Well, again, I appreciate you for having me on, and go Aztecs.
That's Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager, joining us. That was great. I enjoyed I'm excited for Aztec football right now. Super excited for Aztec football. You know what? I might bleed some purple, black, and white with TCU and Big 12 Media Days going on right now. But I got the people I've been talking to about the Aztecs, including, players that I coached. They just said that the group is way different going into the season than they were a year ago. They like the camaraderie, the chemistry. I mean, they're saying all the right things. But every player I've talked to about playing for Sean, they love playing for Sean Lewis. I'll tell you got to give him a little bit of time. I mean, what he's taking over and a lot of stipulations. I had to ask the question to Caleb about the business side of things, because from an outsider watching, it looked like Sean Lewis was trying to do 4 things at once. 4 jobs at once. Being offensive coordinator, be the head coach of a football team, being the general manager, and being like the scouting director. I mean, those are all 4 jobs that you need to be doing individually. Otherwise, something's going to be hurting. And I think that's a big reason why Aztec Fast was Aztec Slow last year. But I like what they're doing over there. I like Sean Lewis. I think he's going to turn things around at San Diego State. I think last year was obviously a lot of things that he couldn't control. And it's one of those situations. You just don't know what you don't know. And in this day and age of NIL, it's a little bit different than the last time he was the head coach. But a lot of great things that Caleb Davis said. And you know what? They're going to put the product on the field, and then you're going to go and show up. Once it starts to happen. We'll see how they look against Stony Brook. I mean, I thought last year they're going to be a lot better, and they did not look good out of the gate. If they look good out of the gate, we'll see. But I'm just telling you that he brought up a good point. Keeping Trey White and most of the defense is so huge in college athletics. I mean, Trey White was like the sack leader in college football for almost the entire year last year. The kid from Eastlake, he stayed. Tana Latuli stayed. They had like 8 or 9 guys in the defense staying. And they got a quarterback in that's, the way they're working right now is a lot better than what it was before. So looking forward to that. Really appreciate Caleb Davis for joining the show. When we come back, we'll talk about Manny's 2,000 hits and get you a final look at tonight's game between the Padres and the Diamondbacks, game 2 of the 4-game series, as we wrap up the show and get you ready for Gwen and Chris, sending us on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 through the fan is brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. Overwhelmed by processed foods, U.S. Wellness Meats offers an all-natural alternative, 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more. Ship free from family farms. Get 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. We're on each and every day from 10 to 2. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the fan. If you haven't done so already, on the YouTube page, give us a like. It really helps us out. Give us a like on the YouTube. We have, how many likes do we have today? I always have to refresh the page, otherwise I can't see. I think we have a couple, 38. Nice. Hey, good work. That is one of the things. Then the other thing, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube page yet, 97 through the fan, hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000. We're at just over 7,500, I think. I'd have to double check. It's free to do. It's a simple click. And if you haven't done so already, this is the other thing that I'm hoping to do. I want to get to 500 subscribers on the Braden Surprenant Show YouTube page. Again, it's free. You don't get inundated with a bunch of stuff. Okay? It just, when you log on to YouTube, we're right there ready to go, so you don't have to go searching for the show. Hit subscribe. It's great. You can find our YouTube page at B_SURP on YouTube, at BSURP. Right now, Prolific the Great is holding it down in the chat on the Braden Surprenant Show YouTube account. He usually does. So, jump on that side as well. Hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 500 before the end of the baseball season. I think it'd be great. So let's try to hit the subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's easy to do. If you haven't done so already, you can follow me on social media at B_SURP, B_SURP, at BSURP. You can follow me on X. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on TikTok. Any social media account that I have has that handle. Follow it. If you don't find one, I don't have an account for that. So we appreciate it. Again, somebody in the chat says he's up to 33,000 subscribers. Hey, drive them my way. Get some subscribers. Let's share the love on the subscribers thing. You can follow Frank Marchese on Twitter at FMarks324. No, he will not give you directions to the Craft Taco. We showed that earlier today. I post a lot of stuff on Instagram about everyday life, a lot of food stuff, where we're going out. I'll be down at the ballpark tonight. Padres Diamondbacks, going as a fan, going with my buddy Will. We were going to hit up a spot before the game. Probably go down to Bub's before the game, just a little early. I like getting down to the ballpark early, even on a weekday. It's the summertime. Go down, maybe have a beer, a Ted. I don't like drinking too much during the weeks. I don't really drink during the week. So I don't know what that's going to be. But I might have to get a Pittsburgh steak at Bub's. Might have to do that. But I'll be down there early. I like getting down to the ballpark early, enjoying the game. Getting in, easy, getting out, all that stuff. So, appreciate all of you guys supporting the show. We're doing a great job getting the show off and running first couple of months. This is our first full week of no preemptions, no craziness. First full week of the season for us. It's a fun week. Next week's we got the All-Star break, everything like that. Anyway. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We want to talk about, again, Manny Machado's historic night last night. Kind of recap what happened. Again, I thought there were some good things about last night's game. The great thing was Manny Machado. The good thing was Yu Darvish. I think Yu Darvish looked good. And Mike Schilt talked about that yesterday. Padres diehard asked, what's a Pittsburgh steak? It's a Philly cheesesteak, but Bubs is obviously from Pittsburgh and doesn't like Philly. I think it's a way for Frank to have one because I don't think he would ever consume anything with the name Philly on it. Denver steak's good. That's a different cut of meat. I'm not going to talk about meat here. All right. Back to it. I thought Yu Darvish was really good. I think it's very encouraging for the Padres rotation that Yu Darvish looked the way he did last night. Now, he needs to be able to build off of that and pitch on Saturday. Because if he could pitch on Saturday and then go into the All-Star break with a little bit of a break and then come back and pitch every fifth day for the Padres and slowly build up, I think that's great. I think the news we got on Michael King is good. Here is what we got from Michael King. This is also part of the good of last night. The great was Manny Machado. We're going to get back to that. The good was Yu Darvish pitching the way he did, and the news on Michael King. He's making meaningful progress in his return from long thoracic nerve issue, that landed him on the injured list May 25th. This was reported by Jeff Sanders in the Union Tribune yesterday. After weeks of waiting for nerve function to return, King has played catch from 90 feet, did that on Monday. He will throw from 120 feet today, and he will throw off a mound Thursday. Kind of a touch and feel session. His first time doing so since injury. While King was moved to the 60-day injured list, it's described as a paperwork move, so don't freak out. Think it's going to be another 60 days. Okay? It's not a setback, just kind of a paperwork move. He was always expected to miss more than 60 days due to needing to rebuild his arm strength. I think I figured out the problem with this camera, by the way, Frank. I'll tell you in a second. Got to finish up the Michael King deal. Importantly, since this is a soft tissue injury, again, this is what Michael King said yesterday, his return can come faster once he begins ramping up. So now it's nothing has to heal. Nothing about this injury was a heel thing. Nerve, as he said, wasn't really working. It just shut off. That's basically the layman's terms of what happened to Michael King. Nerve shut off, how he described it. I don't know if your doctor is going to say that if you have that injury, but the nerve shut off. And he goes, I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just the nerve shut off. So now that I'm getting the nerve firing again, it's just that normal buildup. He says he feels like it is spring training and it's that slow buildup back to going. So the report of kind of a timeline that the Padres will never admit. Mike Schilt doesn't like giving timelines. Michael King echoed that when he was talking to media yesterday. I'm on Schilte's side on this. I don't really know, So Kevin Acee yesterday in the morning said, don't expect to see King until August. So you got a week off next week. He's going to slowly build back the rest of the month of July. And if he comes back in August, you should have Michael King and Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease, Nick Pivetta. It's a pretty solid rotation to get through what is going to be the most difficult stretch of the entire season. And that is the month of August. That is hell on earth for a baseball team, the month of August that the Padres have. The only thing that would make it worse is if they had like a long East Coast trip in the middle of it, but they don't. I guess they technically have one before this August month starts, but August is rough for the Padres, but it does get easier in September. So again, it's retroactive. It's a paperwork issue. He's not missing an additional 60 days. So when he comes back, they'll reactivate him and do what they got to do. And by doing that as a paperwork move, opens up a 40-man spot to get somebody else on the major league roster. So that's kind of the latest on King. That was the good. The ugly last night was runners in scoring position. We talked about that at nauseum throughout the entire 11 o'clock hour. Let's talk about Manny Machado last night one more time. The significance and the importance of getting hit number 2,000. He had a 3 for 5 night last night. So he got to 1,999, 2,000, and 2,001 in last night's game. After getting 1,999 hits, Manny Machado came up looking for number 2,000 in his career. Here's what it sounded like.
Machado on the verge of history, the 0-1. Hard hit grounder, left side, off the glove of the diving Perdomo into left, and number 2,000 for Manny Machado in his major league career.
Fitting. A ball off the bat of 109. Perdomo did his best to try to prevent the hit. Unsuccessful. 2,000 for Manny Machado.
Standing ovation from just about everybody in the building. Fernando totally out of the dugout in front of the railing, applauding his teammate. Manny tips the helmet while standing on first base in appreciation. 2,000 career hits for Manny Machado. First one came August 9th, 2012, a triple against Will Smith of the Royals at Camden Yards, and number 2,000, a single against Zach Gallen here at Petco Park in the fourth inning, July 7th, 2025.
Pretty impressive. We heard from Manny Machado earlier on the show about this moment. What does his manager think? This is what Mike Schultz said about Manny Machado getting to 2,000 hits.
That's quite an accomplishment. You know, we can count on not many hands how many people have done that in this game, and to have done it as soon as he's done it in his career also speaks volumes. And just what an accomplishment. I'm so happy for him. He's earned it all. This guy's a self-made guy and has extreme talent, but he's also parlayed his talent into a trajectory that's really special. And 2,000 hits is very special. So we're super happy for him, and couldn't be more proud of him.
It's a pretty remarkable accomplishment. When you start breaking down exactly what you need to do to get to 2,000 hits, it's crazy. I mean, just start thinking about it. For a 10-year span, he's played 13 years in Major League Baseball. Manny has. 14 years. This is his 14th season. In order to get 2,000 hits, you got to get 200 hits a season for 10 seasons. Obviously, it's very difficult to do. I mean, the most hits that Manny Machado has in a single season was 189. He got in 2013 when he was 20. I mean, think about all the years of having to get those amount of hits. And how about this, too? Like, 2020, it's almost like a waste year for him. He got 68 hits in 2020, and that, it's going to alter some things with the shortened season. But the 2,000 hits is great. Brian Kenny, apparently on MLB Network, says he won't reach 3,000. We broke it down. Kevin Acee broke it down in his newsletter today about what Manny Machado has to do to get to 3,000. If he gets like 50 hits at the end of the year and he averages about 130 hits, and then the next 5 years, that will leave 3 years to get to 199 hits. If I remember that correctly off the top of my head. I think he could do it. 50 hits this season, 130 over the next 5. That would give him close to 3 years. 3 years to get the last 299. I think he could do it. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show. Talk to you guys tomorrow.